It's that time again. Welcome to the stage. Oh yeah. Where energy and creativity collide. Here we go. Let's level up. Make this something to remember. All right.
And here we are. The season for the NACE Star League Valorant competition is whittling down, and we've made it all the way to the LCQ, where players, teams, are being eliminated by the day. We're about to see if two different squads can punch their ticket to the playoffs, as we have two best-of-3 series here for you tonight. And to break down all the action, I am Los, joined by Vincent.
Los, I am so ready for this. The entire season has been leading to these moments, the last opportunity. If you're a team looking to make it into the playoffs, the hopes and dreams of these squads and all of their work the entire semester are here, right here tonight. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And, well, we talked about where we're at. We've already had the regular season. That's done. Dusted. As well as the conference play-ins, no problem. It leads to the conference championships, which, too, are going to be first place already into those playoffs. That's the last chance qualifier, where we see the rest of the playoff teams head in to compete for their spot in the grand finals.
And that's a big deal. This has been a long journey throughout the entire semester. If you look at the date from September 5th all the way to December 4th of those grand finals, a long, hard-fought battle, and neither of the two teams we're about to see are looking to give that up. Not yet. Not by any means. And, this is the entire season at stake. Both of these squads, or should I say, all four of these squads, as we have two best-of-3 series before us, they've been putting everything on the line here tonight. We're about to see what squads we will see. It's going to be OTSU versus Concordia University St. Paul, as well as our second match of the night will be George Mason University versus Irvine Valley College. Both of these teams not quite at the top of their division, so this is one final chance for them to break out, break through, and prove that they are playoff material.
Yeah, OTSU, the second seed in the East 6 division, going to go up against Concordia, the third seed in the East 2 division. And then it's more of a East versus West matchup, that second matchup. Second seed for George Mason, and it is Irvine, who weren't quite able to get there, and they were in that third seed category, both even with that 4-2 record. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think these two games actually could go the distance, so we could be here for a long night of Valorant, and that means it's going to all get started with this. But let's talk about the prizing. What are they actually playing for? Because, playoffs are cool. It's cool to have a championship, don't get me wrong, but scholarship prize, that is what's important. $2,500 for first place. It's going to be $1,250 for second, and $625 to both the third and the fourth place contestants. It's pretty awesome to see. I love that we have so much on the line for these teams.
I'm a man who plays for the love of the game, but, money's pretty nice as well, Vincent, I'm not going to lie, so that's kind of a big motivator. Of course, you want to prove yourself, as there may be opportunities beyond the collegiate league, but hey, that's not what we're here to talk about. It's about collegiate right here, right now, but we also want to say, because of our partners like Extra Life, we have these opportunities to give money to these players, so play games to change kids' life, their health, and change their future. Join Extra Life today. We have a plethora of partners who are able to make this happen, so it's really lucky for all of these kids who have the opportunities, because also, NACE Star League runs on Dunkin', so click the Twitch panel below to find a Dunkin' near you.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Listen, I can't do anything in the morning without my injection straight into the veins of Dunkin'. It's necessary. Listen. I may or may not be addicted to caffeine, just a little bit, but it's all good because Duncan has my back. I do love and appreciate them as well as all of our partners, as mentioned. But do want to mention one other thing. I mentioned I have a caffeine addiction. If you are a Canadian team or a Canadian college, your program might just to be eligible to pick up some free Monster Energy with our official partner, Monster Energy. They're amazing, by the way. I can't believe that you can get complimentary Monster if you're a Canadian esports club. I'm very jealous because I am not, but definitely check them out. It's a whole lot of fun.
You know, I do want to say, this is directly to Monster. Put more Monster Ultra Red and Ultra Blue in shelves. I'm not seeing them anywhere, and they're my favorite flavors. But regardless, we do also want to thank our partners over at ROTC. Become a leader for life. You may be able to transfer those skills in game. Who knows? We don't really know. We don't really know.
Yeah, definitely do know, though, that you can get involved with our friends over at the ROTC because they're giving away this absolutely amazing Camo Herschel Little America Backpack Pro. You can check out the Nace Star League Twitter to enter that thing, and it does look high quality, very, very nice. So I definitely suggest you go head over there, the Nace Star League Twitter, and check it out.
Looks like they also threw a DualSense in there. Now that is crazy. You know, those are pretty hard to come by, so that's honestly a great value. So that's definitely something you want to get involved with. And as previously stated by Vincent in other casts, I'm banned from winning this. So, you know, the floor is to all the fans out there.
Exactly. Los banned means we all have a real opportunity, gamers. So make sure to get your opportunity here and now. But we're getting into the action, getting into the real meat and potatoes of this thing. OTSU, a team you and I have seen. We'll get into that a little bit further on. But let's introduce the players that will be taking the server. It's going to be Falcon, Saint, Flowery, Nurture, and Scott Flyboy, one of my favorite names to say in the entirety of the collegiate scene. Concordia, on the other hand, a squad you and I haven't had the most interactions with, but one that on inspection is going to be a lot of fun to look at. Chief, you, Jitty, Joker, Synthetic, and Akira are 5 of the names that make up this 6-man squad.
Yeah, always nice to have that extra player. They do have Sweet Cheeks sitting in the wings. Aww. If they do need that. Yeah, I mean, a very, very, I'm sure it's based off of their personality and nothing else. So
you say the nicest things to me, Los.
You know what? You know, you could be second in line for Sweet Cheeks, Vincent, if you want. That's
so kind, so kind. Always thinking about me. OTSU, though, they've got to be thinking about this game and how they're going to overcome what has been a pretty interesting semester for them, right? They've had a lot of success here at the Nace Star League. In other collegiate leagues, they've struggled a little bit. They've been up against some heavy competition, and that's what's kind of interesting about Concordia, is that they've done very well here at Nace, and they've also done very well in some of those lower leagues at other collegiate divisions, which is really interesting. So we're seeing a very cool matchup, sort of on the cusp of stepping up to that next level, is this Concordia team.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And if we're talking about OTSU, they have also struggled in the upper echelon, and it's almost a relegation, if you think about it, where Concordia has been at the top. OTSU has struggled in that top tier. This may almost be a swapping of places, but let's talk about the places that we're going to visit for this best of 3. It's going to be Ascent, obviously.
Wow!
But now, we've got a real heater. It's Hurl for Map 2, no longer the Map 3 option. We're going there. It's no doubt. And for this decider, it is Breeze if we need it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Excited just to have Pearl on board. I think this is a whole lot of fun, and we already knew that OTSU are willing to play this Ascent map. Like, it's something that they're comfortable on. We've seen them have great success, and unfortunately some pretty significant failure here as well, particularly against the St. Clair Saints, which is a very strong team. But I do want to mention as well that Concordia being willing to go to a map like Pearl suggests that they are very well prepared, because this is not something that you just have picked up over time via osmosis or some such, Los. You have to be intentional about trying to learn these newer maps.
Yeah, and that's great, because I don't imagine that many teams are going to be out there scrimming Pearl, because that, along with Fracture, are usually going to be instant bans, and it almost feels like a agreed-upon term that it's going to be that classic for Collegiate of Ascent, Bind, and Haven, but not quite. When you expand that map pool, you come out with a major advantageous position against your opponents. Of course, we're going to be headed into the old reliable. It's got to be Ascent to kick things off. I mean, where else would we really go, Vincent? So we'll just get a nice idea of what both of these teams are bringing to the table, as there aren't any wacky mechanics or new play styles that could be implemented here.
That's exactly right. But just speaking of new things, getting into it, this Concordia team, they're in the middle of what is a bit of a rebuild from their previous situation. They felt like they could improve. They did a whole lot, and they have been seeing that success. We were talking in the green room earlier about these two teams and what division that they're working in. Concordia are in a significantly tougher division with the likes of the University of Maryland up at the top than Ontario Tech are. And so that does give me some pause, despite the fact that I have chosen OTSU as my pick for today.
You know, I did have to go with OTSU as well, because, you know, it's just a squad that we know, and they have more experience with those upper tier teams. So I believe that experience, while it hasn't been a favorable one for them, is going to be more impactful, because when you play with better teams, you get that osmosis that didn't happen for Pearl, but you do get a little bit of an understanding of what it takes to be at the top. And in response, a rebuild is going to have quite a few hiccups, and this is one of their first semesters under this rebuild, so this is where we put it to the test.
I'm noticing something, by the way. Look at the player levels. Jitty, significantly lower level than the majority of the rest of the team. I think something might be going on there.
Jitty being a newcomer, well, I mean, that isn't crazy, because there has been some whisperings. Not really whisperings. It's very obvious. Jitty is considered one of the stronger players here for Concordia, but really a bit of a newbie, as they started out in silver in episode 3. So this is a major come up, because now they're up in Ascendant and considered one of the stronger pieces of the puzzle for Concordia.
Yeah, shout out Chief as well for talking up his teammate there. Lots of cool things. Reached out, and Chief was very prepped to talk about some of the awesome things that Jitty has been putting on display. Ontario Tech gonna have to put something impressive on display here. Last chance to get into playoffs. Winner of this goes straight through. There's not anything further in the LCQ. Only 16 teams and 8 spots.
I mean, speaking of going straight through, this is what Nurture has done. It's only one player who's sitting around on A side, and after that, a little bit of an overstepped bounds there on A short. It doesn't really matter.
Not the slightest. The plant has gone in. And so with that, Concordia needs to put themselves into position to actually retake. I love those shock darts. Nurture has been really forced to take a much more passive stance, and that might mean an easier entry.
Oh, we got Asian Man Rice here with the Headhunter. Put themselves in a nice little position. A little late, as Jitty tried to make a quick reaction, but it just wasn't going to be done. Nice little 3K on Flower, and it's a flawless start for Ontario.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we were talking about. Remember, Los, we were discussing how Concordia, they're sort of at the top of their game in the echelon that they've been playing in other leagues, and Ontario Tech right at the bottom of their divisions in other leagues as well. And this is where they've met in the middle, like you said, sort of a relegation matchup. But it is a relegation matchup in the sense that one team's going to be relegated to being done here for Nace, and the other is headed into the playoffs.
Relegated to the couch division, where you just sit and watch the finals from home.
Not the worst division to be in, to be fair.
I'd say a lot more relaxing, a little less stressful. Oh my! Nurture looking for the switch, but Jitty, well, they got the right one on their shorty. Not to be living too long after that one, but hey, better than a flawless.
True story.
Spike planted.
Nicely done, and I think Concordia, this is a great measuring stick for them as a squad. right? They are in a position where they could really show up against a heavy opposition, and if they could win a game like this, a series like this, well, all the more impressive. Though after these first 2 rounds, it does feel like Ontario Tech has something to say. They are not going to be falling over by any means.
They're not looking to be bullied here in the Naystar League, certainly not. And it's a great way to kick things off. They've got the money, they're working with it, and Flowery. Okay, no, I was curious to see if they were going to bring out the save just so they could work into a round 4 op. Not quite the case, but Asian Man Rice doesn't seem to be postured for that.
Seems like, yeah, that's probably the plan, TM. OTSU. I'm going to be moving forward. Look at this. So aggressive. This is the way you want to play these types of rounds, where you're playing a bonus. You don't have the extra weaponry, and so you just get fast on sight.
And Shifu taken down handily. Jitty stuck by the switch, unable to make that quick decision-making as there's so much going on. There's so many different pieces of stimuli to look at. Just couldn't handle that quick execute, and it's another flawless take here. As the spike's been planted, no one left to defend it.
Flowery taking some time on that one, just getting a little bit of memes done. Gonna recover the rifle as well, and it's a flawless start. Not so much for me. Nearly called that an AK. I nearly done it, but I held back.
You've got an excuse. You do see us here at Naystar League, so it's all right. That is acceptable. But what I wouldn't consider acceptable is that only 1 frag has been secured, and it was from a shorty, courtesy of Jitty in the first 3 rounds.
No! I didn't even notice that, Los. That's brutal. Yeah, that's a rough one. Especially when you're thinking about the fact that Concordia just had their gun round. That was the round that was meant to be more competitive. It's okay if you only get a shorty kill in the anti-ego. It's like, whatever. You can't let that bonus go for free.
Oh, okay. Now that's what we're looking for. Nice, beautiful shot with the Marshall from Joker, but that'll be essentially it. Synthetic with a interesting flanking attempted rotation along with Jitty. I'm wondering what this is going to lead us to.
Speaking of CS and Synthetic most recently and moved over from Counter-Strike into Valorant, so has a handle on everything, I'm sure, but can be difficult at times, especially when you get lined up by Asian Man Rice.
Yeah, things were looking quite difficult for that retake. Well, at least they doubled the amount of kills that they had. That is
toxic. It's only like round 4. We've already started with violence today.
I mean, listen, this is the LCQ. It's your last chance. Can't be going down like this. And also,
the last chance for Los to make jokes about you.
Yeah, I mean, this is your last potential roasting session, courtesy of me.
You put yourself up on a pedestal, and to be fair, I put you there too, my friend. Synthetic able to rendezvous away. I thought that he might have gotten caught by that 0 point, but fortunately dodges out. This is okay, Jitty. I don't know how Jitty gets that kill. Was prowled in the face? Is that the right terminology? When you get hit with a prowler?
You know, if it wasn't that term, I would like to vote to make it that.
Yeah, let me submit my vote into the Valorant hall of terminologies.
Yeah, the council. Well, it'll be reviewed, but let's review this execute real quick, as we have a 2-pronged attack. It all hinders on walking through. I don't know how they just walked through that hot hands. Asian Man Rice not taking any damage whatsoever. Dark cover giving them pause to walk on through, but also a nano swarm from Joker. It burns them up a little bit, but not enough for any death. But it's 1 kill for 1 kill. Asian Man Rice in a dangerous position here on the blocks.
If it's a nano swarm, doesn't it sting them? I'm sorry. I just need to stop asking questions. This is unreasonable. 3v4 and a good setup, but I'm a little worried about how many players are committed to the same position in Hell. And with Flowery now smoked off, there's no way to play this as a crossfire.
You know, questionable rendezvous there, but hey, they're still alive. This is a very long-winded and fleshed out retake. But a good shot from Chief. Unfortunately, not good enough as the follow-up against Scott Flyboy is denied. A nice little 3K for them, making this a 5-0 attack on Ascent.
I think Scott Flyboy accidentally found an additional frag there through... I didn't see what it was, but there's some bit of utility that was blocking things off. Regardless, it might have been the wall there from the Phoenix. I don't recall, but either way, somehow Scott Flyboy picks up 3 there, despite only appearing to line up 2. And Flowery with a great timing through that smoke. I mentioned that was particularly problematic, and Flowery makes sure to move forward fast enough to where there's no problems.
Okay, now here's a problem. It's potential one way, but that's not really going to be an issue. However, now that Chief has got the Sheriff in hand, they've taken down 3. Potential for a res, but there's no chance. However, the big issue now is you've got Asian Man Rice. They've broken onto site. Synthetic might be there to stop the resurrection, and he does. Now they have the option to pick up some rifles, get together, and take this retake as a duo. This is a crazy placement by Asian Man. Not expecting Synthetic to be waiting for just that play.
Yeah, I didn't catch exactly where that KO was last able to communicate information, but I felt like that should have been communicated over, but just not aware. And OTSU going to lose out in their first round after a 5-round run. And it's off the back of a Thrifty as well. That's what's crazy. Concordia.
A gift.
Doing exactly what they need to do, and with very limited investments last time out. With that being said, just to kind of talk about where we were at before, right? We asked the question, is this Concordia team ready to step up into that next echelon? Not yet, it seems, but maybe, as they've taken that first round.
And it's also important to note that it was a Thrifty, so good shots with the Sheriffs, but this is where it will really count. Now that they're going to have rifles in hands, can't allow themselves to be choked up by those nano swarms. But it won't even matter because it's a collat from Synthetic!
That looked outrageous. That turn was so swift from Synthetic. And that is exactly what you need. Not only that, but doubling down the additional player towards the catwalk is simply no more.
Yeah, that is
Be lurk out of there as well.
A huge loss for them. A major stop in their attempt to take this site. And they'll continue to try and make this effort. And I'm not sure if this is the right move. However, with 2 down, 45 seconds left, or 2 up, 45 seconds left to go, you just have to make any opportunity that you can and at least get the plant down to potentially shift this round into your favor. That tour de force, however, coming out from Synthetic has just found so much value. But Scott Flyboy's not done yet.
Oh, he's got a third! Scott Flyboy, it's 12 HP lows, but there's a chance here, the low health remaining. The Owl Drone looking to make this a little bit more competitive of a Joker. Woo! That was close. Very close, but he shuts it down. Stops it from happening. 1v5 was a true possibility there, especially if Joker had gone down in that gunfight.
Yeah, that was looking bad because the crosshair was perfectly lined up, looking for another collat. And honestly, Scott Flyboy really is a devil with the amount of impact they've had from hell, because anytime they're in that position, it is just the perfect spot for their defense.
Yeah, it really does feel like that is the case. They're just comfortable under there. I guess it's all the time spent. We'll see what things are going to tell us here in the next round, though. Ontario Tech, 2 rounds lost. They're starting to struggle on the economy, so they've had to pull out the ultimates in order to give them something to work with here. The Tour de Force, the Blade Storm, as per usual. But Synthetic says no more Blade Storm. Goodbye.
Good stuff from them and their ability to find value with the op as well as the Tour de Force. Creating some picks, a little bit of damage from the Hunter Sphere, but now the Prowler was not what they needed. Jitty able to secure a kill and get away with their life. That's exactly what Concordia needs to be able to do. Take shots and pull back, never getting traded.
It's a lockdown available here, Los, so the retake has a real good possibility of walking into something for free. The only good news is the Nightfall and the Fragment could really make this hard. We'll see if the Fragment gets pulled out. No, there's no... I said there was a Fragment, but we're watching Scott Flyboy. He doesn't have one. So he's just committed. He's committed to getting hit with this lockdown.
No way. A great play as they are able to take down Synthetic, who's such a big impact. But when you're stuck inside of Wine, I mean, there's not much else you could do, especially when it is a defusal. And the Asian man is just sitting, waiting for someone to try and get that final kill.
Yeah, Ontario Tech, I kind of felt like they were just willing to accept the reality that they had lost that round. That's kind of the read of the situation that I had. But 3 in a row for Concordia. I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. CSP making the moves that they need to. But it's been 3 defuses. The takes have yet to really been stopped, at least entirely. A lot of that due to the setup for CSP, that they are just allowing them to take the site because they want to retake. But still.
You know, I'm actually liking that because they have taken a bit too many kills in terms of that early round plays where they lose a fighter, unable to continue for a retake. So playing it back, looking for those kills, and backing off, I think it might be a nice operation for them to take place. However, Nurture got the tailwind, ready to push on through into Market, and they will. The nice kill on Sweet Cheeks, and it is a massacre of anyone who wants to get in their way as they take the assault to B with no one left to defend it.
Yeah, that Owl Drone, I mean, it caught a crazy, nasty surprise right there. The dark cover drops, and he sees 3 players ready to dash forward, dissuade the man in Market, and dispatch the man at B. It's suddenly Concordia 3 on 5, trying to get back into a site they had just seconds prior.
Joker realizes someone's got to be here. It is Asian Man on the left, but Speedway is still a stronghold. And Ontario Tech, after a 3-round losing streak, will take it back in strong fashion with a flawless.
And let's talk about what allowed them to actually take that round. As we get into a timeout, this is good timing because the thing that allows Ontario Tech to get that far up is that they just make no audio cue whatsoever in mid. They allow themselves to push forward, and that dark cover, it covers off the trademark long enough to where they can essentially be right up next to the Market entrance before making any sort of information known. Obviously, the Owl Drone was something they couldn't control, but it was really solid play from Ontario Tech, and because they yet to do that, well, it wasn't expected.
And you know, when you have a nice streak like that of 3 rounds in a row, you're feeling yourself, and then you get dominated in a flawless, your mental could take a toll. And a way to fix that may be with some better help. Now, you could use BetterHelp and scan that QR code on your screen, or use code 0B1D8 for some better help and a little bit of a mental adjustment here during this timeout. Might be useful for anyone at home.
Always worthwhile to talk to somebody. Can absolutely help, even when you're feeling like it won't. Concordia, I think they're absolutely utilizing that. Talking to everyone involved, all 5 players having input at this moment, as well as the coach.
You know, as we just looked at that leaderboard. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
So there's this very, very fast, aggressive play towards A and towards mid. So there's 2 players mid, push for Concordia, and 2 players towards A. Unfortunately for CSP, OTSU literally had no one anywhere but B. And so it's just an open site.
That's insane. But also, I was surprised by that aggressive off-peak. I mean, I guess defensive aggressive off-peak all the way from attacker spawn. Coming out from Asian Man Rice. Removes that run it back. And now they're going to have such a difficult way of making an entry for this retake. Scott Flyboy, the demon, is waiting outside. Right outside of that dark cover. Doesn't even need to make a move, but now that he sees some shoulder, he wants to make a peek. He goes for more. Unfortunately, Joker, good enough to stay alive, only with 2 HP. Sane will wrap it up, but that is everyone involved here for OTSU.
So this is a perfect example, Los, of Concordia making adjustments that are not bad in principle, but just they got mega unlucky. Like, ultra ridiculous unlucky. I just can't believe how ridiculous that is. They push aggressively in 2 different angles, and not only that, but those 2 pushes are synergistic, because if you catch a bunch of players in mid or a bunch of players at A, you can then pinch them into one of those spots, but nobody was in either spot.
Bring them down.
A difficult time. Sometimes those gambles really pay off. Ontario Tech. Now, another one from Nurture, looking to dash on in inside of Tree, removing Jitty. Phoenix gone, flashes out, and now Sight is free.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a tough spray battle there from Nurture. Ultimately, that goes their way, and Flowery looking to be a menace here on Catwalk. Flowery has been here multiple times. You gotta check this corner. Flowery's gonna get away with it, and this should be the nail in the coffin for this round at the very least. Concordia unable to do a darn thing about OTSU at this moment.
Not at all. And now they do have some better money, because it was that eco round previously, so at least they were able to take that one. Another flawless, no problem when you're on the anti-eco. Full buy here. But it's the last round of the first half. Maybe CSP can bring something back to themselves. No ultimates at the ready, and only a from the shadows for OTSU.
This is a little concerning, but I still hold by the fact that I think Concordia could show us something a bit different on other maps. This is absolutely OTSU's pick, so.
Case. Curveball out, but Jitty
No!
just unable to confirm anything. Hot hands to save themselves, but hey, they do pick up one before they fall. Scott Flyboy able to take the kill, but no ground gained. If anything, OTSU is starting to fall as Scotty Flyboy is being cornered inside tiles, and Synthetic knows it.
Yeah, last round, so pulls out the tour de force as well, just to make it even more difficult. With that being said, Los, I think to reiterate a conversation point you and I have been having this entire half, Ontario Tech, and Scott Flyboy specifically, have been so good at being able to pull back these situations into something resembling reason. Not sure I love the idea of
30 seconds left.
Of shooting that out. I feel like that could have given you some information, but either way, small nitpicky things aside, the null command's available. And you know what that means? If it's used early enough, this lockdown might not be at all a problem.
An aggressive position up here, and I think if it is used a very awkward way, it might be able to reveal his position, but Scott Flyboy doesn't need to use it now, and somehow Scott Flyboy is able to take out 4 members of CSP in an amazing clutch to earn them a 9th round. It should have been CSP's.
It should have been. In every universe but this one, it would have been. But what a play. Scott Flyboy, much more like Scott Clutch Boy. This man unreasonable in the clutch moments. And 9-3. Listen, Curse might be engaged here. But in reality, that demoralizes the opposition for Concordia in such a way that I think the Curse is counterfeited.
I have to agree with you there. You know, we were talking about, is this the relegation? Well, OTSU is certainly proving that they deserve to be in this final series, this playoff matchup. They deserve it. They're not going to be relegated. CSP, they're not done yet. They still have some wiggle room to play around, and now that they're on the offense, you know, anything can really happen. But I'm really leaning with OTSU in the demonic plays that are coming out of this squad.
A lot of demons today, Los.
That's right. It's because of the skins.
Understand? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Flowery, well, I'm gonna be putting down some gamers. Says we'll be seeing you next round, my friends. The rest of the team pushing out here at A.
Oh, just sprays through the smoke. You have to get to cover and put yourself in that post-plant scenario. A lot of damage placed across the Scott Flyboy as well as Asian Man Rice, so should be at the front. Gonna take this retake from Heaven. Good shot from Synthetic. Looking for more, and they find it, but now they're all alone. It's a 1v3. There's some damage onto some of the players. Synthetic looking to do a miracle, but they run out of ammo.
I think Synthetic has more bullets there. Might have won that. I felt like he was popping. There was that feel, you know. But unfortunately, the bullets are indeed a problem. Double digits on the board for Ontario Tech, and I want to clarify something here, that if it's not clear enough already, because Concordia are very much struggling on this map, but this map very different in the way that it's played from the next one up, their pick on Pearl. And so I think a loss here, if it does end up a loss, because there's still a chance for a comeback, isn't the end of the world for Concordia.
No, certainly not. And, you know, this is a best of 3. We still have yet to see what the true capabilities, what the true power of Concordia could possibly be. But oh my lord, you know, it's the anti-eco, and you know that previous round, nice 2 kills from Sweet Cheeks, but this is gonna be a firing squad with no help. But what was important is that this pistol round essentially defines 2 rounds in a row. Now OTSU are only 2 rounds away from taking this map.
Yeah, that's the scary part, Los. That's what's terrifying, is the fact that there's really not a lot of room for error, and I feel like that's may be a bit of a broken record when it comes to that sort of thing, but that's the difficult part of comebacks is being able to win and win so consistently that you're not losing any rounds or very few rounds, to be precise. But OTSU, there's a chance. It'll be now.
You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, only good for 1. Nurture with some heroic, some action hero plays, but those will not be rewarded. It seemed that OTSU want to simply close this down out with style, and even Flowery putting a bit of that trigger discipline to poor use, as it is Concordia winning that bonus. Yeah, no. What are you waiting for? There's no reason for that at all.
Like, it's a 1v4, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying trigger discipline's bad, Los, because there's times where it's very important. But just shoot him. You have a Spectre. Like, you're not killing anybody in less than like 3 bullets anyway. So it doesn't matter. Anyway, all of my malding aside, Asian Man Rice going to call the timeout, which tell me about it, Los, because I feel like this might be a little premature. Like, why do you need a timeout after just the bonus?
I think this is an offensive timeout.
Oh, okay.
Whereas it's not actually about them reassessing their skills. It's more putting St. Paul on ice, where they'd rather say, okay, all right, you gotta win. Now you're not getting a little streak going. You're not going to be able to run things down. Or maybe they just need some time to yell at Nurture for making that giga aggressive play.
I don't even hate that play. I think if you're going to be playing aggressive on that round,
Out of charges.
it's great. If anything, it's just so well known at this point. Like, that's just the Jet play, you know, on a bonus. That's what every Jet does, and it feels kind of stale at this point, but hey, props for OTSU for giving it their best shot. Speaking of giving it their best shot, look at this. 3 players, W King, straight towards A, and they have a dark cover down as well. They invested so heavily, basically their entire kits into this aggression.
Oh, this is a huge moment. They can catch off Asian Man Rice here. That'll be important, but a pre-fire removes Jitty. A worthy sacrifice, because now no one is there to watch B. You do have a little bit of a threat from Flowery, top fragger here in this game, a major killer and player on this squad. But they'll keep it safe and wait for the rest of the squad.
Feels like OTSU, by pushing so aggressively, have just essentially upped the time scale of this round by a factor of 2. As they push forward, here it is. One player very, very separated from the rest of them.
Oh, that cloudburst isn't going to help those nano swarms. Certainly not. But you've lost Synthetic, who's been so crucial. Sweet Cheeks from the back line here in Boathouse. They're working along with Joker to try and keep themselves together. It's a 1-on-2. A good spray, but unfortunately, a second one not there for a clutch. It will be OTSU on the retake, and they were able to turn this into the map point they needed.
And I really think that OTSU need a lot of credit for this, because the way things work usually if you're going to make a comeback is that you get to a point where you're readable. And Ontario Tech have recognized the fact that there's just not enough rounds if they win just 2 or 3 for Concordia to be able to read them. And so they do something crazy, like push 4 people towards A, which on paper is crazy, but in reality is actually a pretty good investment of resources, particularly on a round where you have limited investments in the rifles.
Yeah, keeping things fresh is definitely a nice opportunity, especially as you said, not many rounds to work with. Any round could be their last here on Ascent, and Nurture looking to put him in the tombstone. Not quite the case. Saint only able to take out 1, but it's a negative trade. 3-on-4.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Now this lockdown is going to be successful in getting them on the site. And the run it back used in addition to this. Unfortunately, that Phoenix not having a ton of impact. At least not thus far. We'll see what this retake can look like.
Flash out. Here comes Saint jumping down, looking for the shots, but can never get a real grasp on the aim. And this is looking to be a well-done round here for St. Paul. Unless Scott Flyboy can do the impossible again, but with the flank, it will be denied. They've got a bad taste in their mouth from the final round of the first half, and they are not letting it happen again.
Yeah, and that's what happens for if you're OTSU when you win a round and you only have 1 player survive. They get the win, but they're instantly relegated to a pretty poor purchase. And Concordia have the resulting ultimates to overcome, whether it be that running back, the lockdown, or the tour de force, everything coming to fruition for them into that round. But Ontario Tech, they're going to have the same option available to them, if not this round, the next.
And what I like is, or maybe what I don't like from OTSU is that they were willing to throw so much money into the previous 2 rounds and essentially put themselves into poverty, burnt to a crisp. That's more like Asian man fried rice.
You know, in fairness though, Los, they did win one of those 2 rounds, so I think you could argue that the investment was worth it. Because now they're at map point.
But also, I'm thinking that it comes from a point where CSP, they're not being respected by Ontario Tech. As they're willing to just throw some money in and say, you know what, we could take this. Like an Ares was purchased when we're on some very crucial rounds. But it doesn't matter. What does matter is this execute. As a great shot from Nurture, looking for more, but they have to back off. 3 daggers in hand. Waiting for someone to come up Speedway. They see shoulder, but they don't click on the head. And they have to keep him safe as Synthetic is breaking on through. Nurture with the right click on the classic. And suddenly, Concordia doesn't have the spike. They've lost control of it. And they only have Joker coming in from defender spawn. However, there's no one having a read on this one. But the spray isn't good. There's such little time. But now, with 4 seconds, 4 bullets, it's done. A clutch from Joker. Who's laughing now? It certainly isn't OTSU.
I want to note there that literally every shot was missed between those 2 players. On the like, Joker had full health, full shields. No, not a single one lost. I am floored. I understand both of them were low, but that's just not the point. That is not even funny. After such a brilliant start to the round, an unfortunate loss for Ontario Tech, but ultimately they're going to be happy anyway because they did so much damage, forced out everything in that round. Only 1 surviving member. Hell, we'll take it.
Slowly whittling down the economy of Concordia. At least they're hoping to. Sweet Cheeks now looking for that first engagement. They realize there's a threat up here. Flowery, the first one who will be in contact if they want to take the place of the peeker from tree, but I don't think they want it. We've seen this play work so well for Ontario Tech, but Nurture, they can stand the test of time only with 9 HP. Well, you know, they'll take a duel any day.
Wants a chance to step up once more. Flowery going to take that chance and run with it. It's a 1-for-1, but when you already have the man advantage, those are fine. You don't care that you've lost an additional player because you've thinned the herd of St. Paul even further. They don't know. They ain't got a clue.
Sweet Cheeks will make a interesting plant here. Not default, but I'm not sure how defensible it is. But also, I don't think they have any idea that Scott Flyboy is sitting inside of A main. If they can land some shots, it almost felt like a one-way was working against them. Sweet Cheeks good for one, but that won't be nearly enough, as OTSU will take the first map 13-6.
Brilliant to see them take this map. It's their own map pick, and you know, I think that you and I, when we first heard the name Concordia University St. Paul, the two of us were sort of like, well, okay, third place, 5-2, they look pretty good. We don't know a lot about them, and then we looked at their performance elsewhere, and we're like, oh, okay, that's pretty impressive, and so I think there was a little bit of a worry there that Ontario Tech might get upset here, but on their map pick at the very least, they were able to settle the nerves, set themselves up for success, and then punch their ticket straight into that second map.
Oh yeah, I mean, Ontario Tech really soared above their opponents, and if we're going to talk specific players, I really got to highlight Scott Flyboy. The clutch factor that was coming out from this KO was just insane. And we were talking about how this is a real test to see if Concordia can push themselves to that next level. And one situation where you need to win that if you want to take it to the next level is the final round of the first half with a 4K clutch from Scott Flyboy. Should never have happened.
No, you can't let that occur. And honestly, I don't even think Concordia played that too poorly. I think that there was a little bit like a micro mistake there, but I think that a lot of credit that still goes to Scott Flyboy for just making that possible. Yeah, mistakes were made though. Concordia are going to have to recenter themselves, rethink, and figure out exactly what went wrong. But they'll get the chance. Pearl coming up next when we come back.
And we're back after map 1 here between OTSU and CSP. It was 13-6 on Ascent. OTSU, they're looking really solid, and the few rounds that they did lose, it did come to a few mistakes. But regardless, I would say a very sound squad. CSP, they've got a lot to improve if they want to take this next map, which is Pearl. I'm very excited for that one. What are you thinking in terms of our next map, Vincent?
Well, I think Pearl's a lot of fun, number one. Like, it's really awesome to see this map. I haven't gotten to, like, watch a ton of it, but every time I've seen it, it's been very engaging. The one thing that I do want to mention on this is that OTSU have felt comfortable leaving Pearl in the pool for a while. I think they've left it to a third map, like, 3 or 4 times that I've seen. And even against St. Clair, they were willing to allow that to be a third pick as well. So I do think that is maybe a little bit worrying for the opposition here for Concordia, but either way, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get down to it.
Oh, it's always going to be fun when we're under the sea. Downwards, that's where it's better. Take it from me. All right, let's
copyright claim.
Yep. That's. I'm pretty sure I said the lyrics wrong, so it's okay.
Yeah,
maybe.
we're fine.
And now we're checking out a wildly different composition here from CSP. I mean, really from both teams. But now we're not seeing Jitty on the Phoenix, now over to a Chamber. What are we thinking on that?
Yeah, listen. We were talking about Jitty as a guy who has had a lot of improvement, has really stepped into this role, has a lot of potential. Really struggled on map number 1, Los, but onto this Chamber, I think that's a much better pick. I think Phoenix wasn't the greatest of decisions on Ascent. It just isn't particularly great there. There's just better options. And so I think Chamber is going to give Jitty an opportunity to have a far greater impact. Another thing that's interesting to me is Joker on the Sentinel role. Is he going to stick with the Killjoy, which I don't think is outlandish, but it's also a little bit unusual.
I think that's a consistent alarm bot, probably mid doors, setting up the double nano swarm on A main, walking through, having that trap, because otherwise B is just way too wide for those traps to be worked on effectively.
Another point as well, Akira in for Sweet Cheeks. Unfortunately, Sweet Cheeks gone, which is sad, to be entirely fair. But I'm excited to see what Akira can put together on this controller role. It's a swap, like for like, in that Akira was playing in that same role, Sweet Cheeks was playing in that same role as Akira is now in.
Placing sentry.
Well, we'll have a chance to see what this 6-player roster has for us, and that's exactly what was highlighted, that they want to have that 6th player just for potentially these niche situations. So Akira might be exactly the piece that CSP needed to find greater success. But looking at this first round, does seem to be a B hit. Gonna be up to Jitty to take this first defense.
Certainly going to be looking like it will. Okay, I was going to say, looking like it's going to be interesting. Nurture taking a lot of damage early on. I like that aggressive maneuver from the Chamber, just gathering some early damage.
Wait, what is going on? Look at this major flank from B main. It's 3 players. They've got the C's. If that lands, that could be crucial. Flyboy's stuck in it, but he's okay enough to take down Synthetic. Joker and Jitty moving from B link. This is a wacky maneuver, but it does seem to be a battle that is in favor of OTSU. And in the end, a 4K from Scott Flyboy. I mean, certainly performing well within the expectations they've set in Ascent.
Yeah, Scott Flyboy was the difference maker, is the difference maker here, and is able to confirm 4 frags on the pistol round. That is a one-stop shop for winning pistol if you can have one player pick up 4. All right, like, rare that you're going to be losing out in situations like that. I think Concordia deserve a lot of respect, though. That's a solid enough play. Unfortunately for them, they just met Scott Flyboy.
Don't you hate when that happens?
I do. It's rough out here.
They have the option for the res. Oh yeah, Scott Flyboy going for that orb. Might even be able to pull it off this round. I wouldn't be surprised. And this is just an artillery shelling of utility. But Akira coming in with 2 one-taps on the Sheriff. And actually may create some opportunity there as it's 4-on-3.
Yeah, and Akira picked up a double kill in the previous round as well. So, might be a very interesting player to be looking out for.
Oh, wow. Perfect anti-flash. Look there by Scott Flyboy. But Jitty, they've gotten a kill. Now it's Spectre in hand. Asian Man Rice is the last one alive. But that spike is ticking down. Here comes the Haunt. Barely, narrowly avoiding it. Jitty looking to force them out of a position. But Asian Man Rice, they come out with the clutch. It was such a close moment for Concordia. But another 4K to end it.
And, you know, Concordia, 1 or 2 things are different, and suddenly this entire game's turned on its head. But OTSU have been able to close both of these rounds, and despite it being difficult, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. I hate to break it to you guys, but it's just not enough. Concordia going to need a big round here and now, and that is going to be off the back of the gun purchases. Max value out of their pistols.
You know, that's really important.
Is that where this meant to go? I don't think this slow war's meant to be here.
Perhaps not, but they'll do what they can. Aftershock, a nice way of dissuading anyone from walking through those double doors. So they leave, take a new approach. It's going to be on B long. Another test potentially here for Jitty. Take another look alongside Akira.
Has a get out of jail free card in the name of Rendezvous, but Nurture doesn't need a rendezvous. I'm just gonna shoot you straight in the face. That's his way of saying hello.
Yeah, that must be like a new ability that came through. Not sure what the patch notes say about shooting you in the face. And it seems that this has been such a smooth take on B again. It came with a few hiccups and then being denied with the Aftershock down mid doors, but once they backed up, took a new approach, it was very easy. But here comes the retake, potentially led by Synthetic and Jitty. They're able to survive, but Synthetic and Jitty good for 1 each, but that is it. Resurrection, no.
Yeah, that would have been an eco-res. 3 players survive, despite the fact that the prior 2 rounds were very expensive. I don't think that's necessary. Big win on a bonus, and I don't think you need to read the patch notes at all. Shoot the man in the face. That's a pretty good ability. It got them 2 opening picks onto the site, Los. I don't know what more you want.
Gotta be balanced. There needs to be some tuning on that one. Get a hot fix real quick. See, that's why Harbor's not in play, because shoot them in the face is just too good.
Too good. I think Harbor is Harbor in play for Nace? I should know the rules. I'm definitely a professional commentator.
He is, but no, he's not in play based off of what people actually want to do. So,
well, I'm gonna double fact check. Is that for sure?
I would say since it's been over 2 weeks, then
yeah, typically
definitely free. But hey, you know what? If we're incorrect, roast us in the chat. But don't actually make our mods work that hard. Regardless, speaking of working hard,
post Los on Twitter. That's what you.
Yeah, do that. Speaking of working hard, not really necessary to take B site because we are on that anti-eco again. Sheriff's in hands for CSP. Might be able to get something crazy. Synthetic potentially getting the jump, and another one. Joker is in an unknown position right above OTSU.
Spike planted.
Oh,
Hey,
this
Joker.
is crazy. Oh, we'll look past that first one, but
No.
kills a
it's
kill.
fine. Everybody's
kill. been
been there. Everybody's been there.
Placing sentry.
This is getting a little bit interesting, especially with the Cosmic Divide. Okay, a little less so now. Kira going down.
Oh, GPU, really an action hero there. I was hoping for that to work. I think that would have been. It looks like an attempted B hop.
Okay, so update: we are trolling. Harbor is not allowed, according to our awesome ops guy in the back with all the rules and such, Mikey.
Thanks, Mikey.
Out here saving us, only looking like a fool for a few seconds.
for a few seconds. I was going for the full stream. 2 BO3s.
True. You right. You right.
Looks like another B
You are
hit.
divided.
No one there to take that initial defense. Joker, I think they'll back off into back halls. Little friendly fire there, but actually no. That was coming all the way from Chief down in B Link. The question is, when will the shooting actually start? Aftershock, nice delay of that plant, but it's about to go crazy.
These free plants over at B have been working out very effectively for OTSU. I mean, they haven't lost yet, so I guess that's sort of a redundant statement, but hey, still.
Archer now. Oh my god, a bullet whizzing past their head. Blind shots through the smoke are working perfectly. Akira firing back, able to ensure that no one can stop their defusal, but they haven't had an opportunity to keep it going regardless. This firing squad will continue. But Asian Man Rice, it's a 1v1, and oh my lord, Akira finally able to secure a victory for CSP, and it comes with a 5K. Technically not an ace because the res was involved, but regardless,
I don't want to hear it.
a heroic, an ace. It's an ace from Akira.
Well done, Los. You've come over to the correct opinion. Well done. Listen. So everyone molding in chat saying it's not an ace. It technically isn't, but also I'm giving all the credit. Akira, what a brilliant play. I mentioned before, like, had some key double kills in those heavy impact rounds with the pistols, and I was thinking, ooh, this looks like it could be good, and Akira delivers big time.
Oh, talk about big time. We've got the showstopper. And looking to be a big time waste. Everybody runs away from that one. Nope, not to be dealt with. Nurture, able to walk out of that with a kill somehow. And the onslaught will continue. A full evacuation of B or A site.
Evacuation going to be leading to the spike going down. Now, here's the question, Los. Do you invest these ultimates? Tour de force. Lockdown. Or do you move elsewhere? Do you save into the next round? I think save probably the call, unless Shitty gets handed a free kill. Just like that.
Nice moment. And there's that commitment. Decision made with ease. But the big problem is looking down to Scott Flyboy. They don't have to be within the lockdown's range. They can make that swing from A main. And it might be an issue. Coming in with the commitment toward the plant, and a great shot from Jitty, a beautiful one at that. The main focus, it's got to be on main, because as long as you could potentially survive, no! They didn't go for it, but it was time anyway. They had to make that commitment. Everyone will perish, but it will be another victory for OTSU.
It will be indeed, and winning a round like we saw from Concordia in the previous, where Akira has to ace in order to take a victory, and then we head into that next one where everyone dies. It is brutal for the St. Paul economy, like absolutely rough. I mean, OTSU ain't doing much better, but at least they have the win, you know.
I'd rather be broke and a winner than broke and a loser.
Exactly.
I think, what did Caesar say that? Sounds something like it. Anyways, another A hit coming out. It'll be Tour v Tour, depending on who strikes first. That Prowler's going to be critical now with a Nightfall. Forces that Tour de Force down into it, but no. A little TP away, and another site taken, but this time it's bloodless.
We'll see who has the better knowledge. Who is better at these tours? GFU going to be putting down the Rolling Thunder, though. And Akira opening proceedings. Asian Man Rice is on an island and can't do anything.
Oh, stuck without no help. And now this could be a critical placement of that Cosmic Divide. Flowery. They've been able to clutch previously. A quick jitter peek to the left. They knew it was coming. And a 4K for them under their belt. Everybody's getting a 4K today.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know we were attending an Oprah event or some such, but everybody is getting 4Ks. It's free.
I got enough time to go
Under,
You get
under
a 4K.
everyone's chair.
Under the chair, it's a 4K.
Yeah. If
It's
everyone
just
will look under their chair, you'll find a 4K waiting for you.
You'll find Flowery waiting for you. So don't peek. Don't peek.
Oh, man.
This is a tough moment for Concordia. We were looking for them to have this big come up, this big return. Now that we went on to Pro, they were much more ready for it. They were looking for this indeed. It is their pick. But this is a tough moment indeed. If they're able to break on through against Ontario Tech, it's got to come up now, because if they continue to steam away, it seems that they will be again relegated to not the quite the highest tier here in collegiate esports. But if we're talking tiers, the best tier for your seat has got to be a Mavic's chair. I'm currently in one myself, and boy, that is an S tier of comfort.
Absolutely brilliant. Appreciate all our supporters over at Mavix. You could experience that as well if you head over to the finals. Local hosts in Philly. Mavix shares for days.
It's true. I've sat in them myself. I think you have as well.
I have too. Yeah, my
now
bottom has been caressed.
Somebody's gonna take a seat. That's Saint and Jitty, putting them down for the count, at least this round. Nice shot. And Akira as well, able to keep things under control. Resurrection committed, but it's not quite over yet. And Nurture getting deathly aggressive here in the back hall.
Deathly. I love that word. Nurture does indeed apply death to the opposition pretty regularly. Joker
Loosen up.
is going to equalize there. That death is exactly as expected. A 3-on-3 now, Los.
The clock's ticking. The ball is in Concordia's court. A lot of utility being utilized, and this time, Synthetic wins the duel. And in a moment's notice, Saint has been left alone on an island, literally, just with a Spectre. No need for trigger discipline this time. But hey, although they were able to pick up 2 kills, which is surprising in and of its own, still is around here for CSP, but it cost them almost everything.
It did, but honestly, who cares? Like, I don't think it matters at this point when you're down like this on your map pick. It's not as if this is not recoverable. It absolutely is. But Concordia need every single round they can get. And considering that Ontario Tech are already postured at 6, there ain't much space left. There's only 4 rounds in the half, and they need at least one more of them, I would say.
Bring them down.
A bit of a half-fight here for Ontario Tech. This should be a
Bring them down.
anything can happen with this squad, as they've proven themselves incredibly capable, even in the worst circumstances. I mean, even if Saint was able to recover those 2 kills in the final moments. But here comes the attack, strictly from Art. It's a pinch, and it's going to be a major one. It all hinges on Akira's placement over on main and winning it against Asian Man Rice. Oh, yeah. This is a 2-prong death machine.
This is much better. This is what we wanted to see from Concordia when they swapped over to their map pick. These are the types of rounds that they need to continue to find. Absolute domination, great crossfire setup, and a beautiful victory at that. It's into another round here where Ontario Tech... Oh, I thought they had a little bit more cash than they did. But I think ultimately they're going to be okay. Flowery has enough money to buy in. 3 players postured towards A. That seems a little aggressive, but very defaulty setup right now from OTSU.
Now it's another crucial placement. This time it is Synthetic by A main, but no one bites. No one moves on through. Art, again, giving away freely, as they would much rather take a fight on their own terms back on the site itself. Now with his aftershock, with the pinch, not allowed to make that play, and hasty swing doesn't take place.
Flashbang really not in position to do much of follow-up on it, and Flowery and Asian Man Rice finding opening after opening. The A site is entirely cracked like an egg, and Scott Flyboy was the one able to really make that difficult, I think, for Concordia, because was holding back for the flank, and somebody pushes, and suddenly Concordia don't have any control. They could just go back B, OTSU, and so Concordia felt the need to be swinging out, taking those fights.
Yeah, what a strong response there from Ontario Tech, able to snatch it right back away from their opponents, and they were on a little bit of a weaker buy. I mean, not to say it was bad, but certainly didn't have the advantage here. And a great force of that rendezvous out from Jitty. No one there to defend mid doors, as this has never really been an option utilized by the attacking team. And now they're headed straight for B. Nightfall used as almost a deterring factor, but Chief with a big double down B link causes this to stop. Now with a standstill attack.
Gonna collect an orb at the very least for the trouble, but yeah, 3 on 5. This is gonna be difficult to come back from. At the very least, Concordia, they have the advantage. They're gonna stick with it. Chief Yu has done everything for this squad, and is even gonna look for more. Not able to find it though.
You want to find it?
I'm not sure that I'm loving that decision. Cosmic Divide gonna be thrown in, as well as the wall, just to get the spike planted.
Well, that'll be a rough place to move in on. Flowery, I really don't know what all this utility is looking to accomplish, but I guess it's doing it. They're still alive. 1 HP, 1 player, 1 chance to stop and keep this opportunity under their belt. 1 more shot needed. 6 bullets left. A kill!
Oh!
Can't do it! It's Flowery with another 4K clutch.
Sit down, says Flowery. I'm the better Astra. I will take those 4 kills. A 1v3 clutch. 1 health remaining. Los, this guy's he's a monster.
This is a team of monsters.
He's built different.
Wow. I just needed a few moments to let that sink in. I was highly skeptical that was going to take place, but we are on the cusp of 2 9-3 halves in a row. Oh, Chief not allowing this one to go down, sends out the Rolling Thunder, but I think they actually caught themselves in it. Beautiful flashpoint. Now, here comes round 2, looking for more, but Scott Flyboy plays the ante, and they're safe. They aren't safe and sound. Do have at least B under their belt.
Where are you?
Yeah, and you say at least, but honestly, that's such a huge advantage. In a 3v3 where you only have 1 ultimate coming in, Concordia, they have to clear so much to get in here. With that being said, the Nightmare on the cards. I don't know that the res will be very plausible to utilize. And look at this, it's so slow, the rotation.
So much time being wasted, but now it's go time. Nightfall.
Player standing.
Sent out. Synthetic and Jitty. They find their ones. Flowery. They know exactly where they are. Can Flowery do the impossible again? Another save the day play. No, it might be stopping the defuse. Not quite the case. And the impossible won't be done again. With 2 seconds left, CSP are able to make amends for that previous mishap. I would say blunder.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Pretty rough, unfortunately, but I think that there was no reason, if you're Ontario Tech, to take those fights. I guess, in fairness, you don't know all the context that we know, so I might be being a little bit over harsh, but regardless, the point I'm trying to make is that Concordia, if they don't get that kill over and long, and Ontario just decide they aren't going to be peeking, that retake would have taken too long, and they would have lost on time. There was only 2.5 seconds remaining.
That was a winnable moment. However, In the end, there's still a quite large gap here. And it won't be 9-3 going into this, so a lot more, I wouldn't say safety, but just a bit more wiggle room and confidence here for CSP. But then again, seeming to be dashed away with aggressive mid plays.
I like this crossfire that they had. Unfortunately, they lost one of the targets of it.
Last player standing.
Oh boy, that's a bit rough. That is not ideal, to say the least. It is now 9-4. And Ontario Tech. I'm curious to see if Concordia are going to buy in here. Yeah, it looks like not. So Ontario Tech going to be able to, unless something crazy happens, take double digits off the back of this.
Yeah, it has to be the case. If CSP is able to pull off an amazing round with the singular investment of the Sheriff on Akira, and I believe if anyone is going to wield that, it should be the Astra. But other than that, it has to be the double digit with all this money poured in by OTSU.
These Astra players have been just so impressive, Los. Like, it's rare that you get to see Astra players playing at this high level with this clutch and everything else, because typically they're the ones who have to take a back seat to play passive. They have to deal with being inside the Cosmic Divide and everything. It's a little bit more difficult sometimes, and I'm really loving seeing both Akira and Flowery just dominate.
They've been putting on a clinic equally, and at least, CSP has had afforded some opportunities for that to be the case. But now, time for the B hit. Not as free as we've seen for OTSU, but Jitty hoping to free up some space with the Headhunter. Not to be done. It will be OTSU once again entering double digits, far and clear from their opponents.
They put themselves in a great spot here of OTSU. Remember last half? They won the bonus. Can they do it here again? That is the real question. They've stamped their ticket, though, shown that on paper they were the better of these two teams. And I think that, at least for now, they're proving it. It's time for CSP to take a step up and show that this is not the case.
I mean, they have to. Again, this is the last chance qualifier. This is the moment. Only 3 rounds stand between this squad going the distance or losing out completely. It's got to be Ontario Tech. They want to prove themselves and show that they deserve to be in the higher tier of collegiate esports, in the top squads. This is their moment.
Their moment. They only have to reach out and grasp it. Make it sound simple. It's actually very hard. Here comes the push. It's towards 8. Art is off limits for the time being.
Gallery is closed, but the doors are open. And Joker kicks them in, sending out a nano swarm. May be able to be used. But regardless, Saint, they'll have to take pause, unable to defend that location. Flowery, notable name, potential lineup if they look around the corner. That turret is going to deny them from that idea. Unable to make the decision. It's now back to a 2-on-2.
This setup is perfect. There's no res available. Nothing in the ultimate categories. But a crossfire of massive proportions set up here from Concordia. They're going to know, though. They're going to be aware of that aftershock.
That's great. Chief picks up 1. They still don't know where Akira is, but it doesn't matter because Chief is the one that you should be concerned about. And it will be around here for Concordia. One that they desperately needed, and a bonus denied for Ontario.
That is definitely it, Chief. Got to pick up the important kills. That aftershock, well placed. A good plan at the very end. Great work from the endgame leader of Concordia. With that being said, I don't feel like that's been particularly the problem. The problem has been Ontario Tech just being a little bit faster at trading, being able to clutch in some of these situations. And oh boy, look at this. 2 players W keying in.
Oh, Oh my. And it was like a debate, honestly, by sending Asian Man Rice first. Said, "Oh, just kidding. I'm not actually doing this." And then follow it up with Nurture right behind.
He's not gonna get away. Yeah, I was worried about that. Took the shot at the far guy. Unfortunately, there was a close guy, and he said hello with a free haircut. I think I need one of those. Free haircut?
Yeah, maybe not by anyone in this server.
No. I mean, at the barbershop.
Well, once we get back to cams, we'll see. We'll make that judgment.
Okay, fair enough. You can be the judge and the jury.
I don't want to be executioner because I don't know.
I left that out purposefully.
Yeah.
I like living. Believe it or not.
Well, we'll see. We'll see who likes
30
living here
seconds left.
as we go to A site, as it is a bit of a safe play brought here by Scott Flyboy.
Safe.
They don't want to take that initial engagement. Makes sense. Kira certainly expecting Asian Man Rice to pull up from behind, and they do. A beautiful shot with the headhunter. The spike is planted, and it's a 3-on-4.
You can't contest Asian Man Rice. Not by a long shot. Jenny, though, going to equalize things. It's 3-on-3. Ooh, that spray, all of those sprays a little bit off.
But they've destroyed the wall, and now they're ready. But the issue is clearing out the defenders in this final moment, but you cannot clear them out fully because you've got Flowery sprouting out of nowhere, coming up with another clutch. I mean, how many times are we going to bring up this player, Vincent?
Literally, surprise daffodils. That's Flowery right now. Just popping out of nowhere. 11 to 5.
St. Paul are pushing daisies.
They absolutely are. They keep getting put in the ground, man. It's just tough. Tough out here. And this is a timeout where I think if I were to jump into the minds of St. Paul, I feel like they've got to be grasping at straws at this point, Los. Like, what is going wrong? Because they did the right things. They just end up losing the gunfight there.
I think it comes to taking those fights together. It seemed that it was one by one that Concordia was making those peaks, and they were losing out. They were getting traded, and it was just an unfair trade at the end of the day. And it left Flowery all on their own, able to take down, I think it was 2 in the final moments. And he can never leave Flowery in that clutch position. But regardless, I think it comes down to team play from Ontario Tech being able to cover each other's backs for that final moment.
It definitely has been some fantastic team play. Some individual play as well. I mean, Flowery, we've just been waxing lyrical for not no reason. Has been dominating. 1v4 clutch at one point. Multiple quad kills. And another clutch right there. Here comes this push. Over here at B.
Stuck inside the nebula. Stunned. But not supremely
Was that
harmed.
a collat? I think that was
I think it
collat.
was. I think it went to the leg.
Mm-hmm. We're on the same page, my friend. That is brutal. And Concordia, in the meantime, they've lost a player at mid.
This is an ill omen for the hopes of St. Paul.
There's no omen.
This is an ill Astra.
There we go. nice clawback, though, for Jitty. At least bringing something back to fruition. But I like this Cosmic Divide. It is so difficult to deal with. You think it's just about B, but Akira is now sort of stuck in this position, and yeah, look what it's done.
Jitty, I'm not sure if they have any sight. Oh, they do. Beautiful shot onto Nurture. Saint, however, there for the trade. Exactly what they needed. And now you've got Chief. Hit with just a Sheriff. I mean, they've got a Rolling Thunder, Aftershock, and a Flashpoint. But other than that, certainly don't have much. And with a quick spray and swing from Scott Flyboy, well, we'll get a quick one-way trip to the death screen, the spectator screen. Big opportunity now. with that rolling thunder, but getting too aggressive and not able to follow up on it. It's going to be map and series point for OTSU.
I will say, in defense of him there, I don't even want to say that's too aggressive. It's like a 1v4. You have to make a play. You know there's going to be at least somebody there, so before you can allow the rest of Ontario Tech to just engulf you, you have to get aggressive. You have to play something forward. I think fair enough. Chief basically taking the only chance to win that round and trying his best at it. Unfortunately for him, his best was not good enough.
That works.
And that's just the worst when that happens.
It's painful. And I think it's particularly painful for this Concordia roster, who, as we mentioned, they've been in a rebuild. They've been stepping up big time, and they have yet to be into the playoffs, and they're struggling to get there here and now.
Here is at least the beginning of one of their final rounds, as they have to win every single one of the next 7 just to ensure they get OT. And walking on through, they don't even make it. It's the Guardian from Scott Flyboy getting the collat, hunting them down. So many ultimates committed, none really finding the hope and value. You've got Flowery on the flank, ready for a heroic moment, but instead they are cut down, and it is a flank from Jitty that actually finds the success.
Staying close by, that Prowler, yeah, great Prowler placement. Gonna make it very difficult to regain positioning off the back of this.
We do have...
Oh, the Sage catches him!
Oh, that is unfortunate. Now, with the Cosmic Divide dissipated, Akira, with ease, walks up and takes the head of Saint. So there we go. It is the beginning, but they will need 6 more rounds exactly like it.
The beginning, yes. But Ontario Tech available to apply the end at any given point. That's the problem. 6 rounds between Concordia and overtime. And that's what it will take. And Concordia, I mean, I hate to bring out the stat line here, but they've yet to pick up more than like 3 rounds in a row.
I do believe that is their original record. I mean, 6 is the most amount of rounds that they've been able to pull off so far in this series. If they can continue it on, it has to be this round, because this is a bit of a weak bye. Scott Flyboy, only with the Sheriff here. You got a Vandal in the hands there of Nurture, but other than that, slim pickings.
Slim to be sure. I like this patience from Concordia. They don't want to overcommit. A has been their... It's been their bread and butter, let's say. But look at how aggressive the Chamber can be over at B. He's got all of B main covered. All of B long, no longer an issue.
And they must understand, this is the point of action. Jitty, Joker, open things up. Backside completely free. And they've taken it. It's all theirs. The spike planted. And they only have to worry about 1 rotation, 1 flanker. And that's going to be Asian Man Rice, if that even has a major impact.
I mean, Saint's just hoping somebody's going to walk around this corner.
Okay. What just happened?
I ain't got a clue.
Last player standing.
I'm so confused at what... I don't know what OTSU were waiting for. I don't know. I don't know what Concordia weren't peeking for. I'm very confused. But it nets Concordia not only the round, but they don't lose anybody either, which is great. Their money can continue to farm up, which ultimately not going to matter beyond this point, but it means that they are guaranteed to have a solid buy if, like, let's just say they get down to a one-on-one and then win it. Their economy will be fine now.
Okay, so I did some soul searching to figure out what that play was. Flowery dropped the weapons, so I believe that Saint could have it. Ran over to tap the spike to draw some attention and pull them out of their positions, but I mean...
But it didn't
well,
work.
we saw the results there.
Yeah.
A lot of players are. However, they'll just pull right back.
Yeah, nice aftershock timing. That is quality. I like that Concordia are now taking this positioning. They know they've been putting a lot of pressure over at A, and so they need to apply this pressure at B at some point.
Here it is. Or here it was. Flowery there for one. Traded out. Asian Man Rice. Good for a shot on the op.
Spike
Now a
down,
reposition. But curious.
One enemy
Has someone
remaining.
made it onto the site? It can't be. It's synthetic. They're stuck in B link. They haven't been able to move, and they get a freebie and actually entry onto the site. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean much when you don't have the
30 seconds
spike.
left.
It's back on B link. Potential fake with that play.
There's not time. Look at the clock. It's 20 seconds. You'd have to play that slow. No way to do so. No utility, no prowlers, no nothing.
One enemy remaining.
Final swing. This is the moment.
10 seconds left.
Spike secured. Able to make away. The great escape. And the spike has to be planted, but they have to know. Sound cues galore. It's got to be from this angle, but you can't possibly peek.
Fake reload. Is just
Tap.
gonna stick it?
No. 5 bullets left. Scott Flyboy, full HP. Here comes the haunt. It's a full commitment. They stuck it.
Defenders.
Oh no. Oh, no way that is how it goes down. But it is. With a round full of so much hope there for Concordia. It is diffused. It is a loss. It is a win for Ontario Tech. 2-0.
Yeah. Hope turns to sorrow right there at the very end. Despite the kill, it doesn't matter. It's just not relevant. It was a great series overall. I think Concordia really putting on display the improvement that they've been able to make. This team, they had some big moments. Everybody seemed like they were very competent. They were able to move into these positions, and they gave Ontario Tech a run for their money in so many ways. Unfortunately, I think there was 2 areas that was not the case, and the main one was the clutch factor. Right, Flowery and Scott Flyboy on map 1 were just ridiculously clutch, and to a degree with which I don't think Concordia could compare. And then in addition to that, I felt like the gunplay was just a little bit outdone by what we saw from OTSU, and I mean by a small margin.
Yeah, there were moments, and I think that gunplay also lends itself to the clutch capabilities that came through. I mean, that was a beautiful clutch by Akira. However, we saw essentially 4 of those plays come out from their opponents, come out from Flowery, come out from even, I believe, Asian Man Rice had some wonderful plays along Scott Flyboy. So when you have just I wouldn't say star power, but there were such individual plays that came out that it was just an amazing performance across the board here for Ontario Tech.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It truly was a team effort. And Flowery, I mean, that moment right there kind of felt like a measuring stick, a weather vane, if you will, of the rest of this game. Just unable to come back into it. Ultimately, 13-6, 13-7, Ontario Tech pick it up, and I think that we could have seen a little bit more from Concordia if they had a couple of those clutches go their way. But ultimately, I think Ontario probably the better team. It might have just been 3 if some of those clutches went the way of Concordia. 3 maps instead of 2, just to clarify.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we will see OTSU. They've earned themselves a spot in playoffs, and I think that is a good moment for them as they have been working hard all season. But now we'll have an opportunity to talk with one of the players themselves as we jump into an interview, and we're joined by Scott Flyboy. That is a name that has come up so much throughout this series. Scott Flyboy, but you know, this is a moment where boys become men. Scott Flyboy, how are you feeling after this 2-0 victory?
Feeling pretty good. Obviously, we did it in 2 maps, not 3. So we're pretty happy about that.
Well, let's talk about the expectations, because you say that. I think that suggests that there was a thought that maybe there would have been a third map there. Whenever you guys were thinking about coming into this game, was the expectation for this to be a little bit closer than it was?
Honestly, I don't know. Most of the time, I just think it'll be 3 and it'll be a competitive game. We ended up doing it 2.
Wow. Impressive to say the least. You guys absolutely have shown that you are well deserving of this playoff spot. But looking towards playoffs, what do you think you guys are going to be able to do in the playoffs, and what are your ultimate goals?
I think we're gonna win it. It's gonna take a bit of time, but we've gotten way better than at the start of the year, and I think we had 1 loss in this league, so that isn't gonna happen anymore. We're only gonna win.
You're only going to win. Now, this isn't about looking to the future. This is more of a technical question about a specific play where it was in one of the retake attempts in the later rounds of Pearl, where I believe Flowery just dropped his gun and ran across tapped the spike, and just died. What exactly was the call for that?
The call was just die. We didn't want to play that around. We wanted to just get it over with. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it was just die. That's all I heard, and then I witnessed it.
Okay, well, you know, sometimes rounds are unwinnable and you just want to get to the next one, but you will be getting to the next match in the playoffs. So before we send you on your way, is there anyone you want to give a special shout out to?
Shout out everybody here, everybody back at the fans watching at home, and 96, and that's about it.
All right, Sky Flyboy, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your victory. We'll see you in the playoff matches.
All right, thanks. See you guys.
Well, that will conclude our first match of the day, OTSU. Coming up big, being able to make their way into those playoffs, but we still have another last chance qualifier matchup. Up next, George Mason University versus Irvine Valley College, right after a quick break. But also, we want to make sure that you remember that our friends at Army ROTC want to give you a chance to win a free camo Herschel Little America Backpack Pro. And make sure you check out the Nace Star League Twitter to enter.
Check it out. It'll be a whole lot of fun, and yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Los can't win though, so that means you have a real chance of victory. Nonetheless, we are headed to that break right here, right now. We'll be back with our second matchup right after this. Ermac
Seconds
with
left.
the Sheriff is laying down the law. Mur no longer the operator in hand, but the man disadvantage for TMU as they move forward. They desperately need it. 1-on-3, but Neki has his third, the fourth.
Though the distance, the difference between these two teams is almost negligible at this point. Oh, and the inhale working out still for King Beauty. That's crazy.
That belly arm. No, you're crazy.
Oh!
Before horn, when are they gonna call it? Looking for the drug line, did not connect it. Instead, getting a little bit of damage with the knockup coming in from Volte. They're underneath the tower. It's taking forever. They've got a lot of damage on the cabinets, and that's gonna be a 4-man knockup from Volte. The ADC turned top laner, but clean near ace.
Nice kill with the finger guns. Benji's not going to give that opportunity to peek. However, they have to be quick. Have to make the commitment, not expecting it from mid. Benji has to jump down. Oh my god, Ponder with the 4K saves it with the finger guns.
As well. The card's finally starting to push up. It takes a while to get out of that initial barrage. Here comes the Kitsune rush. Going to be countered by an amplification matrix, but Sweet doing a good job pushing everybody back from it. They get Emerin the opportunity to use their blade to great effect and find a team kill.
Davenport just one goal away from moving on in the LCQ. No CU.
Oh,
one
no!
goal away. There it is. Shane, another flip reset, wins the sweep in favor of Davenport.
Look at this. That was classy as ever from Shane.
And welcome back to the Nace Star League. And although it is just some Valorant for today, that doesn't mean there is no more action to be had here this week. Well, I mean, a little less than we're used to. It's going to be a little rest period, right?
We got a respite, you know? don't want to oversell things. Just some League of Legends on Saturday. That's what's coming up. We do have a action-packed week though come next week. So definitely be checking all of that out. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and definitely check out League on Saturday as well. But Los, it is that time that we get into our second matchup of the day. It's George Mason and going up against Irvine Valley College.
Yeah, that's right. Another one of those times where it is the last chance qualifier. One of these teams will be able to make it into the playoffs, and the other will go home to watch the playoffs from home. Unfortunately, not everyone can make it through. We do have two teams, both 4 and 2, to walk into this one. So why don't we take a look at the rosters from George Mason University. It's K-Tran, David, Chase, Esper, Gunfighter JL, great name, versus Irvine Valley College, who is bringing Murky, Volk, Peach Cobbler, another respectable name, Danny, and Bola to the server.
Listen, just on names alone, George Mason, they're speaking to me. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit of bias based on the names, but nonetheless, I think that when you talk about these two teams, it's an East versus the West setup. It is second place in the Eastern Conference there for George Mason, whereas Irvine Valley College found themselves in third out of the West Central Conference. These are going to be the maps, and this is a bit of a classic as we head to Haven. Ascent, Bind.
Oh, think Havens. We have the Collegiate Classic. Only missing Icebox here. But, I mean, you know, I do like it. I do like Haven. I think it is a great map. I've been sleeping on it for a long time, but it's grown on me. What are your thoughts? Do we have too much Haven?
No. Best map in the game. Not even close, actually.
Not even close.
Well, okay,
really?
maybe, okay. With Pearl and Breeze, it's like maybe a little closer.
Okay, now I'm going to have to disagree because you're saying Breeze is good.
Yeah, sorry. I know. Everybody disagrees with that, but can't be. Listen, I can't have only bangers, okay? I got to have some things that people hate about me. Otherwise, what will they complain about on the internet?
I don't know. It certainly wouldn't be your haircut. Your haircut is good.
Yeah. But let's talk about who we think might be headed into this one. I think George Mason probably the better team in this matchup. I think it's hard to say, but Los, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you touched upon it earlier when it comes to the name factor, and listen, it's more important than anyone would like to agree upon because it is critical. All right, as Los, I just can't lose with Irvine Valley College. You know I gotta go with Peach Cobbler because he's gonna Peach gobble up the competition.
Okay, well, you know what? Honestly, for that performance, I think I can't even argue. I'm literally entirely inept after that. George Mason, though, I think the thing that really drew me to them is that they have some individuals who have played in that tier 3 scene. Not a lot, but they've dabbled a little bit. And I think that the willingness to play towards that level, to be willing to try and just shoot for the stars, is something that I value a lot. And so I think for that reason, George Mason are my picks tonight.
Hey, that's a respectable reasoning because, like as you said, the aspiration, reaching to the top, it means that they'll more likely be able to bring some heroic plays or think about a prior experience on how a play worked specifically for them, or rather against them if they haven't spent too much time in the tier 3. It's a way to dissuade you a little bit from competition. But now we're back in collegiate, and this is the way to go. This is some of that top collegiate experience, the top plays that we'll need to see, as we're about to see who's going to be making their way to playoffs, where stronger players who have that experience throughout the extracurricular activities in Valorant will meet you in the server. But enough about that. Let's talk agent selections. Viper, a little bit interested on that one.
This is a little abnormal, to say the least. Though, to be fair, Chase did mention to me quote, we run some pretty off-meta comps on some maps. So I would say this definitely counts. It's sort of actually weird because it's only off-meta in that it's double controller instead of double initiator. But it is definitely odd. Early or late 2020 once their comp back.
Got him.
I mean, not really. They have Fade and Chamber. I'm trolling, but
Hey, all good. I never really like the double controller with Viper. I mean, obviously, who else you can have a double controller with? But I just feel that there is a much less amount of value, a much lesser value brought to the table when you're attacking with that second Viper.
I don't know what you mean. Clearly, Brimstone Harbor is absolutely cracked and jacked. But anyway.
Okay, well, Harbor's not a controller. He's more of an initiator than anything.
Yeah, you're probably right. Either way, George Mason, I don't know that I dislike the Viper inherently. I just think it's a little bit different and a little bit more abnormal on this map. But you can see old school is the case with that Viper wall. It's very much the old school setup.
Oh, but this is actually a devious one-way right here, but gunfighter! Oh, beautiful shots with the ghost, but at least there is some retribution, that being the paint shells. However, anybody who tries to step onto the site is swiftly handled. Last one alive, it's Bola with the Sheriff, but no need to take this site. I can just head to A.
Yeah, probably. Not ideal, to say the least. At least he's got the spike in hand, hey? So, should be a free entry onto it. No headhunter bullets, but the Sheriff will do just fine.
For a moment, I thought he was going to go for that orb.
I know, I did too. I really love that George Mason are sticking together here. So many teams like want to split up and would play like 1-1-1, like 1A, 1B, 1C. That's just so. What?
What? Huh? What a read by Chase! I don't know. Maybe they saw him.
Someone check him, PC. That is not normally.
I am blown away by that one. That was fantastic. Just the intuition for that. It must have been just a quick peek, or maybe this has been done to them before. I don't even know.
No, there's just no way. He just must have saw him. Must have, or heard him too, I guess. I can't recall if he was walking. Either way, Bola gets absolutely rolled there for no reason. Poor guy gets dinked to a box. Like, yikes. Round one, not the plan that Irvine Valley had in mind, but it's fine. The laser's up for more.
Wow, that was a stinger snipe. Another one.
Pew pew.
Yeah, you love to see it. We specifically here at the Naystar League, me and Vincent, are always believers in the long-range stinger.
We are. We do love ourselves some long-range stinging action. The best kind of stinging, one could say.
Oh, but that one's got a sting, and not in a good way. What a major hit.
Also fans of the Headhunter, as so.
A.
Give us all of the headhunting. Danny boy, left alone. What can he do? Any kills would be good here, Los. That's like goal number one, but also just applying some pressure, making clear to George Mason that this is not like a free real estate by any means.
30 seconds left.
This is a colossal loss. I mean, again, it is just the anti-eco, so this was going to be a hard sell for them to find any ground here, but, I mean, to lose out on the Headhunter, that's essentially an eco weapon. You've been out-ecoed by your opponents who have that money advantage. 10 seconds left. Danny, not even going to have a chance to get on the site, but I feel like just try and die a warrior's death, maybe, or go for that $300 plant money. At least to to walk out with something.
They're so ridiculously toxic. They're leaving him alive.
Just leaving him.
That is something.
Live with your failures.
I mean, look, Danny doesn't have full armor.
That's pain. Or is it big brain or is it BM?
Both.
An intelligent insult. You hate to see it.
Or love to see it if you're on the desk like you and I. But hey, George Mason. Here we go again. Oh, season 8. Yes, I love it.
Oh, Danny wasn't even caught in the seas, but he still ceased to exist after that one.
You're on fire, Los.
I'm having a day today.
You are.
It's LCQ. Remember, last chance for a roast. That's what it really is.
It truly is. The last chance for you to be roasted by Los. No one would ever give up that opportunity.
I mean, you know, some fight. They fought this whole season for that opportunity, but now fighting this whole round to get this spike planted. They only lost one player, but it's a full stack ready for the retake, and it's going to be a flank, specifically coming out of Gunfighter. They make it through, but Peach Cobbler removes the Opera, and that's a nice start.
Very nice indeed. Peach Cobbler, though.
Oh!
Behind that smoke, ultimately a 1-on-2.
Bulla now. Last one alive. That'll be a destroyed rendezvous. And they're running out of bullets. They have to make a reloading effort if they want to repeat again, but the op is here. Jump for a shot. Bait it out. A beautiful one from Bolo. A 3K.
That is crazy. Gets that spray even whilst running around, moving at maximum. And GMU fall. A brilliant way to turn things around for Bola, but that was just a bonus round. Like George Mason, they still have cash. They're still good to go. Mostly. David has to have a Spectre, but everybody else got money.
Oh yeah, they're happy about that one. So happy, in fact. They can just jump out the window. Bola feeling themselves after a beautiful clutch. Bola just back off. But the real fights may take place here inside Garage. However, it's just a seize and leave.
George Mason holding back a little bit. They have that standard utility setup from the Viper that we were talking about before. They push down C long and they have some control. But they're actually, what's interesting is that their control at 8 allows them to play so aggressive at both C and towards B, where they've got like 3 players essentially committed to the B site. That is so rare.
All right, here comes the entrance onto B. Looking to the back of the site, being shot through a link. Oh, through the smoke! It's good enough, but not expecting Esper in the back. Peach Cobbler gone. But in the end, all that commitment, it's gotten the spike planted, but no one's there left to defend it.
That toxic screen, though, for George Mason, a real problem for Irvine Valley as they try to get back in here. Paranoia.
Oh, Murky stops the defusal. But a tap. It's just a tap. Oh, but it's just 2 taps from Danny for another IVC win.
And another come from behind victory for Irvine Valley College. They've done it twice in a row now. And George Mason, what's happening, guys? Y'all need to figure that out, because to have such an advantage and throw it away not only once but twice, that's not going to happen too many more times.
Well, these are major opportunities and something similar to what we talked about in that previous matchup where clutch factor is coming in. IVC 2 rounds in a row. Have some big victories or some big losses recouped, and maybe more from Murky as they could win out. 2 great shots as they seem and continue to take on through A long, but I won't be given. You've got Chase inside the smoke, waiting to fight to their last breath.
Not a whole lot working with George Mason this round. They have some upgrades, but I think ultimately they're mostly saving, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, it should be pretty free. George Mason, okay, David, nice shots, at least doing some damage, but as mentioned, the investment's not particularly there for George Mason University, as Irvine Valley College not only guarantee a victory, but put themselves up in the lead. A big one to take. And yeah, I'm a little confused, Los. And I'll explain why. So Gunfighter has money, right? But K-Tran is pretty poor. And it seems like they invested a little bit too much in the last round, and I just don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the outlook here. I mean, they've got a judge. But if we're looking at the strategy at large, okay, Judge committed down into C-Long, Viper's Pit as well.
That makes some sense.
Now you have a bit more support. It's going to be a tour de force inside Garage, waiting for someone to extend that presence. But really, this is just a cut and dry hit into B. Nice little fakey in terms of that from the shadows. Regardless, Bola hits a tap for the plant and rendezvous away. What is happening here, Vincent?
Yeah, a lot of mind games being played by IVC. I'm not sure. I don't know who they think they're fooling, but it doesn't feel like they're fooling anybody, really. As George Mason, all they've done is moved from B back to A, and then a little bit back towards B. And they've mostly been right in their rotations. Irvine Valley College, though, they do have 4 ults to work with, and the Nightfall is one of them.
You gotta be kidding me. They're actually running things back, and so many ultimates committed here. Showstopper, nowhere to find a singular hit, but it was threatening enough. Esper jumping into the site with 2 beautiful headshots. Danny puts them to rest, but even so, the rest of the fervor from George Mason is here, and they've equalized it out. They're stopping even a plant from taking place.
And Esper just dominates in that engagement. Somehow, some way, walks into that site. Is a crossfire of sorts set up, and I think the smoke was just in a position where it was in favor of Esper because he gets the kills on both sides of it. All that being said, a lot of ultimates committed. In fact, 7 across the board. 4 of those, though, for GMU. And so, Irvine Valley College, though they have a little bit more to work with in this round than do George Mason, it's not great for either team. Is the tour de force for Bola. That's the big, heavy one.
Oh, nice shot from Murky there. Out onto Esper, the very namesake who had caused such chaos for IVC in the previous round. But there have never really been any strong engagement, strong executes engaged toward, oh, see, but now there's a strong case. The smoke is gone.
And that Marshall got the tag, and then it was Danny on the Sheriff that found the frag. Indeed, great work. Oh, David, can't be taking that shot. A little bit of patience would have proven very useful for David.
That's a painful loss. It seems that GMU is about to find quite a deal more. K-Tran with the op. Only good for one moment, one shot. But in the end, rightfully so, a call for a... Oh my god. A call for a save.
Chase going to have to be going into the next round for this one. Irvine Valley College. They've looked better and better as this game has rolled on. And I think that a lot of that comes down to George Mason playing pretty inconsistently, actually. Like, they are not on the same page in a lot of these rounds. That was a thrifty win.
That is a major hit for George Mason, losing on the op, losing out on so many rifles And it comes down to, well, David having a bad timing, missing the shots. And everyone being in a scattered position. There was not a single opportunity for a trade to take place in that previous round. Now, we've got another IVC attempt at victory, and when we're looking at the weaker buy from George Mason, it kind of makes sense why we would see that initial engagement outside of mid. It was a hope from K-Tran, get an early pick, rendezvous away, and just create a little bit of that advantageous position for yourself. But now, it's a full-on sprint into the A site.
Full and free by the look of it. And okay, well, easy to go in. Showstopper over the top. That too is denied, Los. And suddenly, GMU, they're not only losing the gunfights, but they're losing out in the ultimates as well.
Losing full. Gunfighter. And back again. It's the Bucky. And I don't think any exit frags are going to come their way.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but let's talk a little bit about this composition, Los. Because I feel like we made a big deal about it at the beginning. Mostly because it's just kind of, haha funny. But I don't know that they're getting a lot of value out of this at all.
Okay, wait a minute. Ooh, nice kill, but that'll be it. And yeah, I think it comes from the lack of versatility that we're seeing specifically from Gunfighter. Anytime that there's an attempt on C, it is crazy. No one's making it through. It is a lockdown site. But in response to that, IVC just says, okay, we're not going to go C then.
So I think there's two facets of that here, because I think that's valid, but I also think that the other problem is who's gathering information for GMU right now? Like, there's no one who can push forward and find info other than Fade, but Fade is one of the worst of the initiators at that. And otherwise, you just have to put a body on the line in order to find that info. You have to push forward, and that goes into that conversation we were having about individuals being very disparate on the map. Taking individual duels, because sometimes it's necessary.
And now we have this big opportunity. When you don't have the chamber looking down long, your orb is on Garage. A simple rolling thunder is all it takes to fully evacuate the site.
Quick and easy to get on in the entry, but hey, holding is just as hard as taking.
Oh, some shots out through the smoke. Paranoia to give David the entry, but they've only walked into hell. However, Danny, completely all alone, in a matter of moments, it must have been a beautiful retake out from the Fender's spawn. So, see Link, just an entry that they needed. I'm not even sure how it happened.
Well, I think the long and the short of it is that George Mason, we've rarely seen them be in position to retake together like that, and when they have, it's been a day where they've been forced through these small chokes, and there's really not been a lot of ways into the site. On the other hand, they were able to come in from multiple angles there. They made the attempt, and they had the utility as well. The Paranoia was coming through. We saw as well everything from the Fade setup. Like, lots of positives from George Mason on that round.
Well done. I mean, they made it to the last chance qualifier for a reason. So we know that they have some strength within them. And a beautiful opening pick from David. And I don't even know where that was. Yeah, that was down mid-window. I think I'll walk away and provide more support to C, as Murky eyes it all the way from the orb.
So, information gained over at C long with regard to Murky's position. At the very least, George Mason know that. And they have this set up from the chamber over at A long as well. And so, they have a pretty good handle on where this hit can be coming. Of course, at the time, there's 3 players for IVC at long. C, that's changing, and changing fast. As the rotation comes in, it's going to be the A hit. It's all onto this chamber. K-Tran. Needs to be able to not only hit this shot, but then rendezvous out.
Yep, that's a shot imminent. And that's a spike down. Should be an immediate call for rotation as the spike is here, no longer needed to keep those players stationed. Murky, anyone coming through shorten, taking the furthest advance, but you've got 25 seconds left. And a bit more of a presence. Actually, no, it's only Esper. The rest of the players are on a link. And this will be a pretty much guaranteed plant, but it will be a kill as well due to that fade nade combo.
He'll seize paint shells equals win. Peach Cobbler position known, and Esper's going to take advantage of that though. Oh. Can't see a darn thing on that drop down. Unfortunately, Esper down, but that's just a trade. And George Mason, 2 great retakes in a row, Los. This is what I'm talking about. If they can play together, then this setup is great. They have a lot of retake utility, but if they have to look for information in the mid round, they're not set up for it as well.
Yeah, that was my thoughts exactly. It was such a great retake when they were working together, and I'm not sure if we had much of a impact in terms of the Viper, but I mean, really, that was lost earlier in the round.
Warm bodies.
Warm bodies. But really, when we want to talk about impact, we can really talk about Extra Life. Play games to change kids' health and change the future. So join Extra Life today. Join the Super Team page today. So thank you, Extra Life. But now, it feels that George Mason University, they've got an extra life for themselves, and that it's breathing life into their current play here on Haven.
Yeah, that's fair, right? Like, George Mason, they started out pretty strong. We saw sort of their early aggression paying off. They were doing well. Then Irvine Valley College kind of figured them out. They found that George Mason were willing to play aggressive, take some of those individual duels, and they were punished for them. These last 2 rounds, GMU have been very, very careful not to give away early picks, at least not to give away early 1v1s. Looks like they're going to dial up some aggression here, though. 3 players postulated it long, and there's that C's combo that we've been talking about. And understandably, Irvine Valley have literally run away the other direction there for just a moment in order to make sure that it doesn't find another free kill.
Murky, give it information with that Prowler. However, no one will act on it. GMU, they want to back off. They want to play it safe. Rightfully so. Because again, if they don't give those early kills, this is a favorable moment for them in terms of retake scenarios and a much more aggressive poison orb.
Oh, I like that for Peach Cobbler. Ultimately, it's not going to matter this time, but it's just, it can pull so much instant utility out. Props to GMU for not answering that call, though, and David onto the opposing controller with Murky down. Now, it's a big problem. There's no utility in the late rounds for Irvine Valley.
They'll come from dry peaks and dry swings to hold those angles and keep themselves safe. As George Mason, they can place the dark covers as they please. Question remains now with this Nightfall. Oh, that is going to be an issue. Showstopper pulled out by Peach Cobbler, but they don't have a second to pull the trigger as Esper is going on a tear with a 4K for the retake. They can do it all by themselves.
Hello? Guys, you're supposed to shoot him back. Esper just walked in, collected frags for his case, and he's putting them up as trophies. I am blown away, and not only that, denies the showstopper as well. That came out from Peach Cobbler, and gets literally 0 things. George Mason with not only a round victory, but a huge hit to the confidence of the top fragger Peach Cobbler, and denying what usually is going to be a free opening pick onto his site in that showstopper.
A lot of pain there caused by George Mason. It goes beyond just a singular round.
They're doing it again.
This time they learned their lesson. And even a greater response. K-Tran falling off to that one, losing out on the off. But now we've got the showstopper. And it finds equal value as to one that didn't even fire off for the previous round.
Murky has done a lot of great work in this round. Prowler comes out, and he still comes away with the frag. That's for... Honestly, that is the bare minimum to be able to get that refrag. As George Mason now down by a factor of 1 in a 3-on-4. With the IVC moving their way in. That snake bite, it comes in at the perfect time. But David peeks out anyway and gets punished.
Oh, this is a mess. Gunfighter.
Yikes.
Wait a minute. Did I just see what I thought I did?
Switching sides.
What, the haunt?
That was a Viper's Pit? Oh, it was the final round. Oh my lord. I forgot because these rounds were just back and forth. It made me lose track of time. I thought Gunfighter committed the Viper's Pit before in a certainly unwinnable scenario.
Yeah. I will say that that's one thing that I think Gunfighter needs to get more value out of is the Viper's Pit. I thought it got great value when they put it down at C-Long that one round. Otherwise, didn't really have all that much impact, but it can be hard. The other thing to talk about is Murky entirely countering the initial C's nade setup at Long. And it's so strong because it really goes to show how Irvine are prepared to look at what George Mason are doing and then react. And not only that, but react very intelligently and take advantage of it. I love that.
Oh, Bola was in trouble. However, Rendezvous gives them safety. They will take a few hits here and there, but not enough to cause any major concern. It will be a full plant. Site taken bloodlessly. However, Esper, oh, they want it. They're chasing all the way out to grass to find it. Well, will it be enough? Because now they've left site. It's essentially exposed. It's just K-Tran waiting on it.
I mean, it doesn't matter though, Los, because essentially this positioning inside garage is it's as if it's the site itself, because that's where Irvine wanted to prep for their retake. And you can't prep for your retake if the place that you want to prep in is overwhelmed by attackers. It's just as if the site was there.
I mean, you know, that's a GMU play. Create a new site to defend. It's garage now. They were actually defending D site.
Well, and it worked. That's the thing. Irvine Valley College, they walked in like they were trying to retake D site. So I guess if it works, why not do it? Bola opening pick onto the opposing chamber. That is not one you want to lose on this anti-eco round.
No, a tough one indeed, but I think previously it was the headhunter, specifically from K-Tran, that was such a nuisance for Irvine Valley, but now this time exacting a little bit of revenge. We headed over to C. An incredibly quiet play, and they've essentially snuck on to C. And they'll go even further.
There's no way. They're just not even going to plant the spike. Yeah. This is scary. The spike will go down, but they took a big risk there, did GMU, and I don't think it didn't really pay off. They're now down by a man, and they got to deal with this retake. Though, granted, they have the man advantage, or they have the weaponry advantage, rather.
Oh, Satchel doesn't go as far as it was hoping.
One enemy remaining.
But even though that GMU, oh my,
he almost had that. All it took was that one shot connecting, and it would have been a 1v3 right there. That's scary there for George Mason, but they ultimately come away with it. And so, scary isn't going to be the biggest of deals. What is a big deal is that their bonus round is so significantly gutted by the amount of damage done by IVC into that previous round. Look at it. They've got nothing. It's stingers.
Broke. Broke boy alert. There it is.
Hey, that's
GMU. We'll just leave it at that. This is not going to be a bamboozle. It's something we have previously seen from Irvine Valley. It's a full-on commitment. They aren't playing around. And it is a well-done attack. Well-done use of all the utility. They're going for the classic. That's exactly what you have a Viper for. Look how far Gunfighter is. They're literally in spawn.
Yeah, this is where the Viper is really good on Haven. There's a lot of lineups, and Chase, I guess with the Stinger, is just a literal unmovable object. Esper as well. Yeah, what are you supposed to do against that?
I don't know how Esper walks out of that one with a 3K. Completely left unchecked as they move through Garage to get that ceiling position. However, you know, you don't really expect that late into the round for the Rays to be on top of the B box.
No, you can't. And I think that one thing that I didn't note, and that I think I failed to realize at the time, was how oppressive Viper can be on a map like Haven where you're not used to seeing it. Because, you know, a map like, I'm just going to throw out Icebox, right? Like, you know all the lineups. It's been the meta for years at this point on Icebox to play the Viper. Haven, it only was there for a brief time. So it can be very disorienting to deal with those types of lineups in this coordinated type of play when you're not expecting it.
And even if it came down just to Gunfighter, if they still have the snake bites and the orbs, they're all the way in spawn. If it's a 1v1 and it comes down to that, think of how much time is going to be wasted just to root them out. Now we're running up into C. We've got the Showstopper, but blinded. Esper does know where it's going, but they're much better with the guns anyway, especially after the haunt information is gained. However, they do not have this one for free. Danny, out from C-Link, able to get a shot. Peach Cobbler now stepping up to the plate. Oh my god. And they've gotten a home run.
Showstopper as well, now available for Peach Cobbler. David's gonna have the nades fall into his head.
One enemy remaining.
That kill was critical from Chase. With Danny now down, they can overtake that area, and Peach Cobbler isn't going to be able to just take this for free.
Certainly not. Oh my god, right around the corner. Peach Cobbler. Now with a rifle in hand, Peach Cobbler has done it! A huge clutch! It started with the Sheriff and it ends with a Vandal in hand, and Showstopper not needed to close that one out. A huge win for IVC.
Yeah, and I will say, not too sure about the commitment there to that position from IVC. It felt like there was no particular reason, or I said from IVC, from George Mason. They had Chase so close. Felt like maybe you want to be in spawn there. I don't know. I feel like maybe that's nitpicky, but regardless, George Mason, they get punished, and it's ultimately Peach Cobbler doing all the heavy lifting. Brilliant to see that maneuver come to fruition, but a rough go for GMU. They have the guns back, though. They have plenty of money to buy, and they're doing it again. They're running it back.
Here it comes. Roomba bringing in great damage. Another Showstopper that just doesn't work out, but really, all this utility forcing players inside of that dark cover is everything they needed and hoped for. How many times is Peach Cobbler going to get a shot through that dark cover?
Yeah, George Mason, I can see what they were going for there, but that's really risky for so many reasons, and Showstopper plus Nightfall, it's just not good enough. If you don't have a way onto that site and you're just going to go very quickly, or even a contact play like that onto C, you better be darn sure that you can break through that choke, and George Mason couldn't.
Now another moment. George Mason down on their luck and down on credits. They do have a Viper's Pit. Now it could be a moment where
Find you
can just rush onto the site if you're able to find that opening pick, which Gunfighter just did. That's what we're looking for. If you want that Viper's Pit victory, that's the first step.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't even think it has to be fast. Just, you got to get there eventually. Esper should be able to recover this gun here in a moment. Obviously, they don't know that yet, but it'll be worth it to take the chance at the Vandal, surely. Just waiting on the on the toxic screen to come back to fruition, and there it is. So IVC not only losing out in the initial pick, but they were down a player. Now that's been equalized. A solo endeavor by IVC over towards C Long is going to not only find that pick, but confirm that ain't nobody home at the moment.
Spike down.
The kill from Peach Cobbler. And another one to follow it up from Danny. And they'll be able to own this position, but the Stinger. Oh, it stings, baby. And the Spectre as well from Gunfighter. Another moment, another very light buy where somehow George Mason can walk out of this one with a thrifty victory.
I mean, it's all on the chase right there. That round was starting to get out of hand, but the kill over towards C Long from the chamber made that so much better. Bola was bailing Irvine Valley out of that round big time. Ultimately, though, Chase finds their way onto the site and picks up a double kill with the Stinger. We didn't even see it because we were watching the flank from Gunfighter, but when Gunfighter then confirms that kill and the crossfire setup, there is just so very few ways that win goes to IVC afterward.
I mean, regardless of the outcomes, this is just a pleasure of a match to watch back and forth. And almost... Oh! Beautiful kill from Bola. They make the escape.
He's
and they
done
walk
it
away
again.
with it. How many times? He can't keep getting away with this!
Well, maybe GMU can take some notes, because they need to be getting away with it here at the push towards A. And hey, look, ain't nobody at A, so maybe they will get away with it, at least for the time being. But retake utility is at a premium right now. The Rolling Thunder is available, and Paint Shell's making things a little difficult.
There's that Viper's Pit, the one we were looking for, the one that is that much worse for anyone trying to make their way into this site. And again, it calls back to the Viper is just a unknown quantity here on Haven. You don't really know, you don't think too much on how to deal with this pit. And Gunfighter able to just pick up one with the shorty, realizing someone just jumped over, but somebody else can take care of that, right?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sure it'll be good. 1v1 now. Gunfighter's so patient here. Entirely committed not to peek this at all. What a ballsy maneuver.
Oh! What a beautiful shot, but I don't even know if there's enough time for Murky to do it. No. Well done.
2 seconds off the mark. That man has some cojones, let me tell you. I don't know how you don't peek that. Gunfighter just decides he's not defusing. He's not sticking it. There's no way. And he doesn't peek, and he was right.
Big brain, big courage coming from that player. And that's about it. Big, nothing else.
Yep, nothing whatsoever. Irvine Valley College. They're gonna have to step up their courage levels if they want to bring this back. They're down by 3 rounds, and it wouldn't be as big of a problem if it wasn't so close to match point.
Bola now presenting a supreme threat here. Both Prowlers utilized. But now both angles are still an issue to be covered. Backing up to double doors could be the proper move. Paranoia ensued. Now they gotta have some idea, right? Send some bullets down. Oh, Bola takes a shot. Doesn't connect. So they have to back off.
I will say Bola being applied so much pressure there. Still isn't killed. Is a big problem. Peach Cobbler. I mean, you could say it's a problem, but that would be understating it. Walks up, finds a Stinger kill, and then showstoppers a man to the face.
Oh, just out of range for those Viper snake bites. One would have been enough to take them out. Regardless, Spike recovered.
The blast pack's just barely missing as well. It's a bit brutal when you think about it. From the shadows over towards A, as Irvine Valley College don't want to let George Mason get away with anything for free. But a 2-on-4, this is going to be hard.
Yeah, with only 13 seconds left. They have to be
10
aware.
seconds left.
Right around the corner.
Last player
Threat is
standing.
behind and it's trigger discipline from Murky. And that's a win that they so desperately needed.
They simply did not know.
Why'd he throw the gun away?
Yeah, I don't know. It was tainted, Los, by the awful, terrible attackers.
It's tainted with loser hands. And
Yeah.
Murky doesn't want that.
We only take W's here at Irvine Valley College.
So it seems. Now 9-11, down by 2. Only 2 more mishap rounds for George Mason to take this map.
I love how you set that up as mishap rounds. Like, they're just going to fall into it.
Well, I mean, when it's come to Thrifty, and you have Chase with 2 stinger kills, that's kind of what it feels like.
So the Aftershock going to nearly deny that plant, but ultimately the Rendezvous is allowing them to get out. The showstopper for Esper to get in there.
Oh, this is a big moment. And David, they deliver. Now it's 3-on-3, rifles in hands. It doesn't feel like a eco round anymore, especially now with this Nightfall coming to fruition. Chase with a good kill, but Bola out from mid-window, an unexpected surprise. And IVC will get one step closer to the equalizer.
Bola instrumental there in forcing that round to go IVC's way. Comes in at the right moment, catches out David on the shrouded step, and even able to find one prior to that as well. It was going to be tough to get that defused whilst David had collected a rifle. But all things considered, that was one of those eco rounds. GMU have been really good at doing damage on their ecos, and they've done it there once more. Granted, they used a ton of ultimates to do so.
Costly effort indeed. There can be no price that's too high if you want to secure his spot in the playoffs here in the Nate Star League LCQ. Bola going absolutely crazy. No way that they're going to walk out of this one for free. Rendezvous, not there. They don't have an escape. But here's a swap. We got David. Oh. David able to take out their counterpart of Murky. 1-for-1 trade.
And that's, ultimately a very aggressive play from the defense, and it ultimately doesn't actually favor them at all. The trade going 1-for-1, despite the damage done, is actually not good for the defense. The attacker's going to love that because now there's 3 sites and only 4 members between the 3.
Paranoia. Stealing scouts to be utilized. It's the teammates. And David gets shot. As a result, straight through the dark cover. Now 3 players expectant of this push on to C. Esper stuck. Now realized and caught out. Somehow makes it away. That's wild. Oh no. They're not letting this one go.
Oh man, Gunfighter needed to get that kill there. Now, it really is K-Tran or bust right now with Bullet. Going to take out Esper, time a ticking, and ain't no shots a hitting. As it's 11-11, George Mason University. I think they should just... I wish I could draw like a teleprompter or some such, but I need to like cross out the entire C side of the map. They just need to not go there, unless it's through Garage.
Yeah. It's starting to seem that C is not the place to be. B has honestly been a more successful site than I would have ever imagined here on Haven. It usually feels that it's not one that you usually run. It's kind of a once in a while. Maybe it'll work out if they have an effective post plant. But it is much more successful and much more viable than I would usually see on a Haven match.
Yeah, typically it's that site where you fake it and then you go elsewhere, or maybe you fake towards C and then actually hit B. It's definitely something where the straight up B hits are not all that powerful. But George Mason have found success there, as crazy as that is. But I think it's also goes to show you how well set up that site is for the composition that George Mason are running. Like, their agents are built to thrive there.
Yeah, there are so many denial tools, like the seize, the haunt, the paint shells, Paranoia, easy to make it. Just some
Snake
one-ways. The snake bite. I was leaving the best for last, but...
Oh, my bad. Sorry. My fault. I just got a little excited there, you know?
Well, it makes sense to get... oh, no, you can't do it again! Oh, an escape gunfighter.
He's fine. He's fine. He lived! Haunt as well followed that up, by the way.
Saw a lot of utility being used all in these initial seconds.
No information off the back of that. They're not going to know that 2 players got hit with that fault line. Brilliant fault line, by the way. But Murky's position is a problem. Esper is not going to notice it until they're all the way out. Unless they fall back.
Now it's a freebie. Question is, who is ready for Murky? And the answer is absolutely no one. What? Gunfighter?
How many times?
Actually has a strong case here.
The man has just lurked onto A every round. Why do they not expect it yet?
I'm curious. Aftershock. Gotta be a flashpoint. Maybe. Gunfighter waiting for the right moment to take a shot, and there it is. Now it's a 2-on-2 with another kill from Gunfighter.
Oh, there's another flank. That's gonna be hard to read.
Player standing.
It is, in fact, K-Tran maneuvering around, playing ring around the Rosie. They wouldn't possibly expect another person inside of Hell. Well, the answer is yes, but Bola reads it out. A big flank for Bola and finish for the Chamber. As IVC, coming back from behind, will earn themselves the first slot of match points and potential guaranteed OT.
This game has been utterly back and forth, and yeah, technically IVC have made this comeback, but it's only been 4 rounds in a row that have put them here. They only needed 3 to tie the game, and I mean, I am blown away by what they have been able to put on display. But George Mason, the good news is they've got this ultimate advantage, at least slight. You know, from the shadows, not that great, but K-Tran, is he going for this? Oh, okay, no. I was going to say, that is a bold strategy considering the Season A that comes literally every round.
You know, sometimes you just want it. And if you have that rendezvous, it's an opportunity. It's an option. Oh, my! Bola opening it up with a beautiful shot with the headhunter. K-Tran, though, they've been waiting for that time, that opportunity to bring the op into play. And it is done so efficiently. It's a Viper's Pit cutting off Garage as an option, but Gunfire's already done. Murky and Volk are pushing through, and David is the last one alive, sitting inside of default. They don't even have the spike planted. Trigger discipline, it was an option, but it was not a good one. They didn't have many of them, though, and the walls closed in. And from behind, IVC with 5 rounds in a row, close out Haven.
So impressive from IVC. I think that when you look at what your George Mason were at coming into this and the way they started that map, there was flurries of rounds where I think they looked head and shoulders above what IVC were putting on display. But I feel like just at the very end there, Irvine were so scrappy. They were able to make those retakes happen. They stepped up in the big moments. And not only that, they put a stamp down at the C site and said, you shall not pass. And no one was allowed to pass that choke point at all. It was, what, 5 rounds? 6 rounds? Maybe not that many, but 4 or 5. That C site was simply not open for business.
Yeah, it seemed that it was the case for both sides, where C was just a non-viable option when you had that Viper from Gunfighter. It just was not something you'd want to run into. But on the very same or other side of that coin, C was never really an option, but just for a plethora of other reasons in terms of spammy dark covers, Murky always presenting themselves as a threat. But hey, in the end, IVC able to come up big. And we'll see if they can continue that streak as we head over to Ascent right after this break. Map 2 is going to be a real heater, as the first one was just too exciting. It's IVC versus George Mason University, 13-11. And we had some seriously standout players. Really, a battle of the raises, Vincent. Esper with 25 kills, Peach Cobbler with 24 frags. Both of them were making amazing plays, and none of them were with the showstopper.
Yeah, that's very true. We saw like one or two okay showstoppers from Esper, but poor Peach Cobbler just couldn't get that thing to work for him. And sometimes that's the way it goes. In fairness, though, they both played phenomenally, as you just alluded to, and I think that their individual performances, especially in retake scenarios, were kind of crazy. I felt like both of them kind of jumped in and were able to retake the site on their own at times. With that being said, we start with some good. I gotta mention K-Tran. A little bit lost here on map number 1. You're in the chamber role. I feel like you have to be performing a little bit better.
Yeah, no, that is a must. Because if we're going to look at the flip side of Bola, 19 frags, and more impressively, 5 first bloods, and that's also in conjunction with Murky, 6 first bloods. So we were talking about how George Mason, they didn't really have that opportunity to make that opening engagement, that information gathering, to enact on some good killer picks to start a round off. Well, if you're looking for people to make those picks, well, you found it in Murky and Bola, and I'm very confident that they can continue to keep that energy going.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to me that like jump out with regard to those first bloods, right? The first is, I think that really goes to show how well Chase and David were doing in the mid rounds, and Gunfighter too, a little bit lesser degree than Chase, but they were able to find like such key double kills in order to bring those mid rounds back there where it was then winnable. It was very impressive. So I love to see that. Secondly, though, I think IVC, if they continue to play that way, opening picks, they mean a lot on Haven. They do. But I think they mean even more on Ascent. And so they continue to play that way and dominate in the opening pick category, I'm a little worried.
Well, now that we're heading over to Ascent, something that we talked about, I just mentioned it really, is the lack of information gathering. That's not going to be an issue here, as we have K-Tran on the KO, no longer on the chamber, not a single chamber inside this server, interestingly enough, both opting for the Killjoy. So I'm interested to see how these two different compositions that they're running are going to take place, but I'll tell you something that's always going to be interesting is the fact that Nace Starling runs on Duncan. It's 9:50, folks. Make sure you have some caffeine to keep yourself awake here. You know exactly what I'm ordering. I say it every time, but you know what? Because it's seasonal, we'll go with a medium iced coffee pumpkin shot inside there.
I'm not a pumpkin guy, but I respect it. We got a George Mason squad that's looking to make the comeback here, Los. It's in their map pick, but it's where they have to do it. IVC with a chance to perform, I think, maybe a slight upset here if they were able to take this into.
No, certainly not. No surprise there. But this might be a surprise in terms of such a long play up through Cat, and I'm not sure. Everyone's playing back. Nobody wants to make any move here.
Yeah, long-winded certainly the term for it. Just waiting out that dark cover, that was the key.
Okay, now follow it up. Peach Cobbler, good for a shot, and they'll be able to bail out even though the paranoia hits them. And they can walk on free. Only a single bullet reaching the chest of that KO, but it doesn't really matter too much as they can walk on, plant the spike, not a single casualty.
Okay, Tran times that perfectly. Here's George Mason on the retake. This is great clearing, making sure to clear out those angles. It's so important, but 5 players on the site. The retake and the crossfire set perfectly. No, they get demolished in a matter of moments.
Big C's. What does it mean? Comes up with Murky and Peach Cobbler. Who else to finish things off, as we've known them as clutch masters so well?
Yeah, love to see what George Mason were going to do there. They come in, they make the right reads, they clear out the right angles, and even they get a good start. But IVC, the late round swings from them were simply too strong. Not to mention, Volk, the in-game leader, making a lot of moves with that utility. The C's put down a lot of threat. In addition to the Prowlers initiated there. Felt like everybody was deaf and couldn't quite hear or see what was going on.
You know, I like the script flip there that we saw from Bola. Normally you would expect the Sova, that being Chase, to have that Ares and spray on through, but really Bola said, no, we are the ones who hit the wall bang.
That's right. Well, it can go both ways. Jesus, words are difficult. Irvine Valley College, though, it ain't difficult for them because it's too easy for the anti-eco flawless victory at that. This is a pretty good round, I think, to talk about and to set the tone for George Mason because they were second in their conference. You know, they were right there. But they're sitting here and down by a map on their opponent's map pick. This round is imperative for not only their start, but also their mental.
Could be a critical one. And in this moment, they're going for another laid-back play. They don't want to be in the face, as it's, of course, Spectres that you'll find in the hands of your opponents. Good one-way drop there. The question is that all you have to rely on? Because when we previously saw in the pistol round, once the one-way dissipated, it was go, go, go for IVC.
All right, now it's no, no, no. As IVC waiting for the right time to strike. Like a snake ready to move. They wait for the chance and then they go. But as for to stop that initial aggression in the fragment as well, making it even more difficult.
But here we have Murky. I don't even know how we got here, but David was ready for it. K-Tran as well. Everyone holding on to their position with perfect efficiency. Maybe an opportunity for Spectre. Oh, it's a read. It's a read. Good enough for one. And I'm sure it's not a flawless, but this was not a very strong opportunity for IVC. Not at all.
No, they didn't have everything that they could want. They definitely were working from behind, and I want to give a lot of props to GMU because their timing on that re-aggression towards Catwalk was simply perfect. They found the right moment to put that fragment in use, and I mean, as you mentioned, don't know exactly how Murky got there, but somehow, some way, it split Murky from the rest of the team, which did ultimately lead to his demise. So, death is not good, is the logic to that story.
We'll keep that in mind going forward.
It's truly groundbreaking, I know, Los.
Seeking to break ground or at least take ground. IVC, you know, we haven't really seen them go for mid plays, which is often a collegiate classic of the split mid to B, but a big opportunity now presented by a swing from K-Tran, and they'll fall. So they don't have everything they want, but they at least have the lack of suppression that would come from that KO. Here's an opportunity. Prowler, flash, walk on in. Danny through the smoke, a beautiful shot, and now they've got sight. There is one player to try and contest it. Chase with a good shot onto Murky. They can't stop the plant. They can at least stop it from a deathly strong post-plant situation.
Peach Cobbler is the critical point of this defense. His pressure is key. Doesn't need to go down too early here. Volk, there we go. And yeah, as mentioned, too worried about Peach Cobbler. And so Volk swings and finds everything, applying the pressure, as does Gunfighter. George Mason, they might have won against the bonus, but when it comes to rifles, Irvine Valley College are undefeated.
Now it's back to pistols. A couple of upgrades here and there. Two sheriffs at the bottom with Esper and Gunfighter. Esper looking and hoping to come alive here as they were topping the leaderboards and such a threat to behold back on Haven. They want to reprise that role as the one who ultimately destroys everybody. But this could be a wacky play. Murky actually with a shrouded step into the gubby takes Esper completely by surprise.
I'm not gonna lie, that was outrageous. It's just built a little bit different. Considerable construction over there as George Mason do what they can to recover. Of course, it is just that one-man disadvantage, so it's not as difficult as it would be otherwise. Lockdown is at hand. I don't think that I would like to see it used in this round. There's not a lot to be utilized, and yeah, this is a good decision in my opinion.
Spraying on through. That's what they would have hoped to find a little bit more, but spreading out. George Mason doesn't want to get caught up into some collapse, but now they don't have any options. A good flash drive to give an opening, but Bola wasn't even near that flash, just swings in and says, up. No, you don't.
So you remember that storyline I was just talking about? Like, I was playing it up pretty big, where George Mason were dominating on gun rounds. Or rather, Irvine College were dominating on gun rounds.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't have guns, it's even better. Imagine that. Who would have thought?
Wow. Wow.
I know.
This is, I have to say, this is one of our biggest brain plays so far.
Hard-hitting analysis, I'm aware.
Is this on us when we run on Duncan?
Maybe. Lots of ultimates to be run down this round, though.
Gonna be a big opportunity. It's not a 0 point, but it is Peach Cobbler dashing into stairs and still good for one. I feel like one is too many in that opportunity. They're just gonna remove Danny, stuck into that dark cover. It's turned into a 2-on-3, but Sight's theirs. It's a quick fight in the speedway. Murky hit with the wall bang dink. And I think at this point, you have to fight. Or abandon your teammate. Oh!
Abandon ship, baby! Honestly, that's the right play there. I don't think they get out of that alive. And I'm fine with making this hero play with the From the Shadows. Fortunately, it's not going to work out. Not great. K-Tran there to stop it. But a little bit of extra money for IVC.
I think they may have been hoping that all three players could immediately have the knife out for that one.
Yeah. You know, a man can hope and dream. Fortunately, those dreams not going to come to fruition this time out. But the extra money's nice, at the very least. And IVC are going to have that money to buy into this round. They did invest the null command, though, and got really nothing out of it.
Placing sentry.
And they traded the lockdown for the From the Shadows, which is a good trade. I think that's a pretty solid trade, all things considered.
Yeah, I think it came down to being a little bit too aggressive in that execute. I mean, Danny was way too far in that moment. Way too close up ahead, especially when you've got that null command. Obviously, you know, you want to be close to the opponents just so they get that suppression, but if you lose track, you lose that player just sitting inside of a smoke, obviously, on the ground, the information isn't crazy.
Yeah, definitely wasn't ideal, to say the least. Here's that lockdown. It's Hunter's Fury available. And, oh, Esper was sticking around. Gonna lose out. Misses the shot. A huge whiff when you think about it. And I think that fragment was meant to actually take out the lockdown. And I think it missed. So, they do hold on to the Hunter's Fury at the very least.
Well, they have some opportunities now with the Hunter's Fury. Looking down through. It might have caught wind of somebody on main, but really an ultimate that seems to go amiss. Chase now. You've seen their heroics before. Now it only is going to be a massacre inside of the doorway with the fragment. It doesn't matter what hit you, regardless. By the end of that play, you are going to be ripped to shreds, whether it's a grenade or 3 different Vandals.
Yeah, that was not ideal in the slightest. As soon as the idea of trying to res up K-Tran there comes to the forefront for Chase, it was just a hailstorm of bullets. But George Mason, here's a problem, Los, and it's a pattern I'm seeing emerge. GMU have yet to be able to pull 2 rounds in a row. They need to put together back-to-back rounds in order to start to build economy, but they haven't been able to do that.
I'm not sure what the problem is, but it doesn't seem that this is going to be the start of a GMU run unless they can make an amazing play here on the smaller buy. K-Tran waiting around that one way. But we've consistently seen that the one way is only good to delay the inevitable. Peach Gobbler, first one to potentially take this engagement. 2 players looking away, opposite angles, but now both focused. But they're not checking the corner. K-Tran is good for 1, but that is it. Peach Gobbler with a double. They can walk right into sight.
Oh, I love that from Esper. Looks to confirm the frag. Make sure that Bola can't get out for free, but Peach Gobbler coming around the corner. It is just Gunfighter. The Blade Storm, no more. And Volk gonna shut that down. Irvine, this is a different look team than what we were seeing back on Haven, and understandably so. I mean, this is now IVC's pick, so it would be expected. But Los, I'm looking at these things, and I'm just seeing that George Mason, they have like a plan A, but I don't feel like they have a plan B.
It feels that they make one option. It's always keep one player inside of tree, always send out that one way. But then what happens? The plan A, it seems to just run out after 45 seconds take place in the round. It feels that they never fully flesh out that plan A rather than resort to a plan B. And maybe the plan B would be just a hope for a retake. Maybe the plan B is hope they go to B site, and that's where they can actually find victory, because A is such a tough one for them to fully take control of, especially when there isn't anyone sitting on the site itself.
Yeah, it's hard to hold on to. The other thing that I've noticed is GMU, we saw them play very, well, not very aggressive, but relatively aggressive on their defensive side, well, over on Haven. And on Ascent, it's critical that you play a bit aggressive at times in order to take space. And we just haven't seen them do that. Now, that might be changing here and now. It's after a timeout. They might have noticed the same thing I have. 3 players are postured for GMU to head up towards a B. Maybe that could be the change. Here we go. Both A and B aggressed.
Oh, Esper's got the chance here, but Murky just going to do a shrouded step. Get on out of there.
No, thank you.
Realize that. But the real threat, it's over at A. Oh, the perfect placement. K-Tran hoping to get outside, but the read with that haunt is critical. And now they've lost out on the suppression. Now they have no real smoke, and that's a bit of a gap if anyone wants to come from heaven. Everything is falling into pieces for Irvine Valley College, but they won't even make a commitment to A.
Yeah, I mean, a boatload of utility just got forced right there. You could see basically everything. Nanoswarms invested. It's all moving forward. A bit of a slower rotate, pardon me, for IVC, but they are going to not be caught. Like they have a free site to take here, which is nice. They'll be loving life here. Bola able to find the entry, or rather, a bit of a rotation frag on towards the opposition. George Mason, this is a save. Los, they're running away. They're not interested, and I can't blame them.
Oh, and it feels like nothing is going right for GMU at this point. Even the save could end up being an issue if Bola goes on a hunt and goes 1 by 1 looking for these kills, because it'll be a flawless round for them. In the end, 7-2 will be the scoreline. GMU just struggling for any piece of victory here on Ascent.
Hi guys. Yeah, really good setup there for GMU though. On the save. They're gonna get 3 kills out of it too. And whilst IVC doesn't care, they're sitting at max money on a couple of players. George Mason, they needed those guns for this next round because look at what it's done. Like K-Tran and Gunfighter, they're not rich by any means, but they're good enough. They got weapons. It's all good. George Mason, they tried something different there, Los, and I think I have a lot of respect for that. Unfortunately, it didn't end up working out.
I think a lot of this round right now, though, depends on the saved rifles. Oh, what?
Run that back by me. I don't.
Okay. I think both the missed shot and the back to catwalk, both of them are just absolute blunders of plays and like kind of cross-canceled, right?
Yeah, I know, right? We go back, we go again. Irvine, they have mid control. Something you mentioned before, lack of mid control. IVC have gone for it here and there. It's just that they haven't been interested in anything further than just catwalk. Like market hasn't been on their to-do list.
Never really, but don't broke. Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But now, about to be broken is their economy and the morale. I don't even know how Esper got killed on that one. But it's just up to Gunfighter with his Spectre. Might be able to pick up the op. Okay, yeah, they had that same level of confusion as we did. But they'll grab the op and run for a save. IVC doesn't really want that, though.
No, I mean, and you know, honestly, I think it might not even be worth it hunting down this player too much, but they're going to do it anyway because I think beyond the monetary thing, beyond taking this gun out of their hand, is the mental battle here. But this is actually great from Gunfighter. He has given them the slip. They got absolutely rolled in this game of hide and seek, of cat and mouse.
A nice consolation prize there. 8-2 versus hide and seek op. I don't know. What's the options, Vincent? We can weigh them.
Yeah, for real, man. What? I'm just trying to rack my brain here to see what I think GMU might need to be doing. I think the answer is clearly to be more aggressive at times, but where and in what way? Because it seems like GMU, you know, beyond this op and the peaks that they're going for, they've just decided because that one round didn't work out that the ultra aggression isn't the answer. And it probably isn't the answer to be aggressive everywhere all the time. But taking space dynamically is the key.
I think so, because we haven't gotten a look at a forward play inside B main, someone waiting for that. Well, David, now, look how far up they are. This is a bit of an aggression. It's more of a wraparound. A flank to stop on B. But in the end, it's finding results. 2 dead for IVC.
Nice work. But still, holding on to this site, 3 players is enough to do it, especially when you have the null command and the Blade Storm. If Peach Cobbler wants to throw that into the mix. Retakes, set up, and Volk as well in a really good spot to play spoiler to this.
Waiting for them to jump down. It's Danny also inside the pit, waiting for Speedway to be the answer. But now you've got Volk sending out the Prowler. It's a back and forth. Kate Tran doesn't know what's happening. They've activated the null command, hoping to stop the Prowlers, stop the prowl of these 2 players going back and forth, but the time is ticking. It's all but up. Kate Tran can go for a half defuse, but that's all they'll get. The 9th round here for IVC.
That's just so rough. George Mason take far too much time trying to clear those angles, and then Volk is so patient. He's like, well, you know, I mean, if y'all are going to take forever, I'll just sit here and wait. And then when finally Volk is required to pop out, make their presence known, it's far too late to clear both Volk and the Blair back boathouse. George Mason, they're getting clowned on right now. Irvine Valley College are playing a different game. And that game is great fundamentals. It is where they're taking positioning consistently. And, oh, hi, Esper.
Oh.
Yikes. Yikes. Esper going on a solo endeavor there. Look, why not wait just a few minutes? George Mason are pushing B. They got 2 players there. If only they'd done that so fast to get that trade.
Seems that all the aggressive plays is hoping to catch someone out in a slow attack onto A, but catch him through mid, maybe? Through Cat? But I don't know. Everything seems to be mismanaged, half-hearted. We don't really know what GMU is trying to do, because I don't think they even know what they're trying to do.
It seems like they're...
What?
Okay. Alrighty. Another flawless round. It's 10-2. Los, this was... Map number 1 was 13-11. This was such a back-and-forth endeavor. George Mason were there. They had the moves. But they have yet to show anything like they had over on Haven on Ascent.
I don't know, maybe it's a struggle in terms of the called plays. Maybe a bit of difficulty with leadership, but if you need help with that, you can join the Army ROTC. Become a leader for life. They may have some sort of analyst strategic analysis to walk out of this one, but I sure don't, Vincent.
Yeah, for real. I am but an armchair analyst, and I'm at the edge of my seat with regard to what's been going wrong for George Mason. Here we are, into the pistol round. Very split endeavor initially for GMU. They had a couple of players waiting for aggression towards A. That never came, and so the spike is going to rotate towards B, where they have some space to work with.
Good with that. Tailwind. Close the door. Walking around the corner. Looking for the shot onto Bola. It's not good. And a double kill from Volk. Here's the C's. Everyone's feeling the pain now. Oh. Oh no.
I rarely say this, but I don't feel like this is the same team we were watching in map number 1. It feels like this is a disjointed squad in a way that we simply were not seeing. And I don't think it's even down to the individuals. Sure, they're not having a great game, but who would be at 11-2? Nobody would be.
It feels like an across-the-board disconnect. It seems that they just don't have their minds in it. It must be elsewhere. Certainly not on Ascent, because every round feels that it's falling apart. It falls to pieces.
I'd say that their head's in the clouds, but the problem is Ascent is here too.
Gotta be down with Pearl, I guess.
Whatever it is. Gotta figure it out. At least Chase is there to bring something back. Classic to the skull, to the noggin. And George Mason going to go 1-for-1 in that trade.
And I think this position by Peach Cobbler, even this, would have been enough to have solid aggression and maybe combat against IVC when they were on the attack. Even that minimal placement, because you don't have to wait for the reaction once that one-way dissipates.
How many times did we see IVC just take Cat for free? Or seemingly for free? There might have been a trade of utility, but no bodies were committed there. I tend to agree with those.
Now is an opportunity for Volk. Good for one. David there for the trade. But it is going to be a costly one. Oh, no. You got Danny with the judge. Who is going to fall prey to that? I know someone is. And now that a big way to soften them up. Here's the moment. Time to walk on in. Danny with the sheriff. They don't even need the judge, but now that it's one player left, they might as well bring it out, but it doesn't even matter. Murky with the Ares. They close it up. It's Matt Bensiri's point here, 12-2.
You don't.
I'm both flabbergasted and outraged by what I'm seeing here. IVC, I'm impressed that they've been able to do such a great job of finding the openings that George Mason had at their disposal. But what's really impressive is that George Mason, a team that was fighting for everything, that were stalwart defenders, were able to bring back man disadvantages so many times on Haven, are just falling apart here at this time.
Beach Gobbler now pushing up. They'll have to back off, and this is a big moment. It's George Mason. They look to take Catwalk, and Bola just taking a peek out of the dark cover like it's nothing. It was good for one, but that'll be it. Here's some pressure coming in from defender spawn, and it's 2 for Volk. Murky, just cannon fodder at that point, but, you know, sometimes you have to be.
One enemy remaining.
Somebody's got to do the dirty jobs, but hey, Danny, gonna be taking one out via a fragment, if I'm not mistaken.
One enemy remaining.
Ooh,
Chase
beautiful
V2.
play. Chase able to potentially create some space, but they want to survive. They want to make this play. They don't want to defend. They will now. Going for the
36.
refusal.
He's so low. Any of those bullets could have done the damage in order to find him.
Oh, I think this is... Oh, that was such an opportunity. But they didn't play off the sound cues right, and it felt like nothing went right for George Mason. And it is a victory. 13-2 for IVC. I don't know what to say, but I just have to state that the performance on Ascent from George Mason, after what we saw they could bring to the table back on Haven, it just feels like a disappointment.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, and maybe this is selfish, but I feel like we were a little bit robbed of that series. I felt like that if George Mason played the way they did on Ascent, this is a potential 3-mapper. But whether it be the reasoning, if it was, let's just say, George Mason, they got smacked on their map pick, they lost in close fashion, and they just weren't able to mentally bring it back. Or maybe Ascent just isn't their map, and even though a lot of teams play it, maybe that's typically a band of theirs and they just let it through this time. Regardless of the reasoning, it did not feel like the same team was playing, because it wasn't even as if we were seeing like the gun duels be competitive. It was every aspect of the game which IVC were winning.
Yeah, it just seemed that this had to be a moment for George Mason. It never looked like the comeback stopped for IVC after they made that large 5-round run to close out Haven. The domination just continued cross-map, and I'm not sure, maybe more timeouts could have been taken by GMU, maybe
they
more.
took them.
I don't know. Give them more timeouts, Vincent. I don't know what they need.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you at the question marks, but you know, unfortunately, that is going to be the end of the season for this George Mason University team. But the good news is, I think lots to learn from there. A team of players that always looking to improve is exactly what they are. So at the very least, they have that going for them. Irvine Valley College, on the other hand, straight into playoffs as they book their ticket. Which is pretty cool. I'm really excited to get to talk to one of these IVC players and kind of see what their thoughts are on it. And we are ready to talk to Bola. Let's get into it.
All right. Well, Bola, congratulations on that victory. It was a dominating second map there on Ascent after quite a back-and-forth struggle on Haven. How are you feeling after that victory?
Feeling good. Wanted to close out the match before going to a third map, so felt good.
Well, you certainly did that. But let's talk about the difference between Haven and Ascent, because, I mean, you guys look like a different team entirely almost on that second map. Obviously, it was your map pick, but was there something that changed in the mentality between the end of Haven and the start of Ascent?
Yeah, so on Haven, we were having trouble reading them, so we felt like they were playing random and stacking stuff, so it took us a long time on our attack to figure them out. But then we just had that momentum shift on defense, and that's when we really came back and closed that one out. We didn't really have trouble reading them on Ascent. We just played our game, and it didn't really feel like there was a lot of resistance. So, yeah.
So who's making those calls for your team with regard to the reads, and what is something specifically that you guys look for in trying to read another squad like George Mason?
So our IGL is Volk, and he usually just tries to see where people are playing and where their strong side is on the map. And usually what we try to do is we try to see where their utility is, like their chamber trip on Haven or where their Killjoy alarm bot was on Ascent. So once we would break those and just take that map control, it made it a lot easier.
All right. Well, I mean, you're coming out with that big victory. You're headed into playoffs, and now that you took down GMU, is there anyone that you're looking forward or excited to see in the playoffs?
Of all the teams, we really want to take down UCF, their main team. That's the one team that's given us a really hard time in the Red Bull tournament, especially. Red Bull Clutch.
Okay, yeah, a former rival that you'll see in playoffs, and maybe we'll have the opportunity to see you guys do it again. But before we send you on your way to enjoy your night, is there anyone you want to give a special shout out to?
No, just a shout out to my team. Justin,
right, shout
Vlad,
out to the team.
Evan, everyone, Danny.
All right. Well, Bola, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your victory. We'll see you in the playoffs.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
He gave us a... I appreciate that.
Salute.
Man of respect, of decency. Always wonderful to talk to players, and I think Bola really kind of broke down for us what the issues that we were seeing were, right? You were able to read George Mason before, or weren't able to read them as much before, and then able to read them on that second map. But you could read your way into a giveaway. The Army ROTC is back with another one, Collegiate Camo giveaway. Check out the chat as well as the Nate Star League Twitter to enter your chance to win both the Herschel Little America Pro backpack as well as a PS5 controller. Definitely check them out. The Army ROTC, be a leader and step up.
All right, well, thank you, Army ROTC. Definitely something you want to get your hands on, I would say. But also, unfortunately, we are coming to a close on this broadcast. But that doesn't mean there's no more Nate Star League to check out this week. There is but one more broadcast. It is on Saturday. It's League of Legends. Definitely check that out. But I do want to say that next week, it's going to be very heavy on some Nate Star League schedules. You're going to see us quite a bit. Pretty much every weekday, it's going to be Valorant, I believe.
There we go.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Nate Star League. You'll see at least one of us.
Listen, they're gonna change the name. It's basically the Mid-Low Star League at this point. No, I'm just kidding. But we do appreciate everyone over there, and make sure to tune in to both the Saturday games as well as all of next week. We'll see you next time here at the Nate Star League.